1986.
You all know about that.
Life moves pretty fast.
Never say
Get away from her, you.
listen to that noise. My little buttercup.
I'm gonna send you up against the best.
Yes, sir.
You two characters are going to Top Gun. 5 weeks, you're gonna fly against the best fighter pilots in the world.
Instructor at this school, I see 20 new hot shots every 8 weeks.
I don't like you because you're unsafe.
That's right.
I am dangerous.
It takes a lot more than just fancy flying.
Tom Cruise, Kelly McGillis. Top Gun.
Welcome to another episode of Quantum Recast. I'm your host, Cory, and we got a full table today with Nick, Cass, and Ash. The whole gang is here.
Oh my god.
Hello.
Hello.
And if you've been with us from the beginning, you know that in the summer we like to tackle blockbusters. We like to do the big movies that were supposed to be huge. And so if you clicked on this episode, you know that we're taking Top Gun right out of 1986 and we're taking it up to 1995. I like that. We didn't
Big
do a full
summer
10
vibe.
years. Just did 9 years. Because Nick likes to hit those 10 and 20s. And so I like it. Nick's probably just bugged that this is like 9. It's like 1 year
It's
from 10.
I'm just so irked right now. I'm just
He's like
maddened.
scratching his arm. He's itching. It's
Really could have just bumped it up one more year. Would have been really good.
Well, we've been to 1995 only once before, and that was The Shining. We brought The Shining to 1995, so we haven't been here too much. This is only our second outing into this year. But before we dive into Top Gun in the year, please follow us on all the social medias. We're there. You can engage with us and see what's coming up and get ahead of the game, so to speak. And if you're a first-time listener, that's what we do here. We take a movie out of its original release year and we take it forwards or backwards in time and drop it in a new release year. And then we're going to recast that movie with a fresh new cast relevant to the new release year. So we're going to see,
That's right.
we're going to answer the proverbial question of what would Top Gun look like if it had come out in 1995. But before we do that, guys, have y'all seen any movies worth talking about, good or bad? The good, the bad, or the ugly in terms of film?
I watched Flashdance.
Oh.
You were a fan.
I was.
Nick was texting me.
Your first time?
Yes, first time. Yeah,
First
for sure.
time,
I mean,
wow.
I knew. I'm aware of it. I've seen the clips. I know what the movie's about. But just getting to actually sit down and watch it, I was texting Corey. I was like, "Why is this not in conversation with like the most '80s movie ever?" Because it's built like Top Gun, like Footloose, like Rocky, where it's just music videos on top of each other, basically just montage after montage.
Yeah.
But I was just impressed with like the cinematography. I thought Jennifer Biel did pretty good. Not the dancing part, but like she was charismatic, because she didn't actually do the dancing part. But anyway. The only question I had was like, okay, how did the little dive bar in Pittsburgh have the budget for like all these crazy dances they were doing on stage with the costumes and all the like crazy lights and stage stuff? Like, I was just like, how is this possible? But it's like an exaggerated reality. It's like a fairy tale kind of thing is the way I kind of saw it. But yeah, if you haven't watched the classic Flashdance yet, or you have, go check it out.
Nick,
No,
did you know?
Flashdance.
Nick, did you know that was the movie where like the chair in the water came from? That gets
Oh
copied
yeah,
in a lot of movies.
yeah.
Okay,
I was aware. Yeah.
Oh, I was hoping you'd be shocked and go, "Oh, okay." But so.
What I was shocked by was like it was the second scene in the whole movie. I thought that was like more kind of towards the climax or something. But I was like, oh, I was like, we're just going right in. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else see anything?
Yeah, I had
all three of you give me one movie to watch. I didn't end up watching all of them. I watched almost all of one. I started one, and then I still didn't watch the other one, which, Nick, it's going to take me a minute to watch The Matrix. Which, Nick...
Why do we even bother?
But The Matrix has you, Kaz.
I'm gonna watch it soon. I feel like I'm not a Keanu fan until I watch it, but I did like almost finish Prisoners, and that is pretty good. But
amazing.
I watched a movie called Megan is Missing, and it came out in 2011, and it's a really, if you like found footage movies, you may enjoy this movie, and it's a horror. But if you're not into the sensitive topics being brought up and very, very brutal scenes, it won't be the movie for you. I didn't even rate the movie because I felt like there's not, what do you give a movie like that that's kind of based on teenagers on the internet who have met like strangers whose cameras supposedly don't work, and they end up meeting up with these people and getting kidnapped.
Yeah.
But it does it in the most brutal. It shows like the most brutal scene I've had. Even pictures. If it says picture number 1, turn the TV off. It's not worth seeing.
Oh, it's that bad.
Because because it's this. The character was 15, 14 in the movie, but she was like 17 in real life and put on this like headgear, and it was brutal to see. I was glad that I watched the rest of it at work because I was like, if I watched this at night, I would have been traumatized.
Oh my gosh.
But it's interesting. I was like, okay, it's time to watch something different. Ash, Corey, Nick, give me one movie.
So you kind of watched our movies, but then went to watch something else after you asked us to watch movies.
I watched.
I see how it
Megan
is. It's fine. No, it's
I-
fine. It's fine.
I watched Megan. Whatever.
We get it. We get it.
But you watched most of Prisoners, which is great. But the best scene is at the end as well. So
Yeah,
it's
I'm
Where,
sure.
but yeah, let me know when you finish that movie.
Yeah, I will.
But yeah, I watched. I'm reading this book, like greatest films to watch, and it's like really pretentious, and I don't like it. But you know those big films that everybody talks about, and you haven't seen, kind of like Citizen Kane or Metropolis. So I've gone back to like 1930s and 40s cinema, and there's a film called M by Fritz Lang, who did Metropolis. And so I watched that because it, you know when you're just trying to get through the movie, you just want to go through. You're watching it, and it's so I've got the lens of the last 80 years, so obviously it's in black and white. The effects not great, but you just have to appreciate it for what it is. I mean, it was a very good film and very impressive for 1931, and it's basically one of the first serial killer movies where there's a child murderer luring children into candy stores, which at the time wasn't cliche. And the only lead they have is that a homeless person remembers that this person does a famous whistle. He whistles a very famous tune. I think it's
okay.
Hall of the Mountain Kings. Da, 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 da. So that one. And every time he lures a child in and kills the child, he whistles that theme. So it's basically a bit of a Hitchcockian, pre-Hitchcock kind of movie. And the Nazis really liked the film, and then they banned it because Fritz Lang was half Jewish, and there's a whole thing about that as well. The movie was like forbidden for like 30 years during World War II, but I think they remastered it in 1962 back in Germany. But yeah, it's a very impressive film for a film made in 1931. So I watched that, and just to go on a totally different, I watched a TV series called From, which is from the makers of Lost. And that's just about a town that you can't escape from. It's kind of got Stephen King vibes, like The Dome. And at night, you can't look out your windows or doors because there's going to be monsters. So the storyline sounds very ridiculous, but it's really well grounded, and has Stephen King. It's always more about the human aspects than the monsters that are in the background. So I recommend From if you are looking for a 10-episode TV series.
Cool. Corey, did you watch anything?
I watched 2 things. I watched Air, the Michael Jordan shoe movie with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. It's really good. I liked it. I feel like they kept it really grounded when they could have just like made it a whole Jordan worship movie. But honestly, they kind of paint Jordan as like a young jerk. It was like not interested in Nike at all.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
like,
that's
so,
true.
So I thought
He's
it was
an
good.
Adidas guy, Corey. Okay.
And it's weird because I think like Jason Bateman had his best performance in one scene. Like
He did.
maybe
Yes.
it was really
Yes.
good. And so it's like, dang. And then I finally like decided, why am I paying for Disney Plus if I'm not going to watch these new Marvel movies? So I finally sat down and started like watching some of this post in-game stuff. I watched Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, and gosh, I cannot stand Sam Raimi. I wish he'd stop making movies. So much.
I'm
texted
very
me.
interested. Oh my gosh, I'm very
He
interested to
texted
know what
me
you
at-
thought of that.
He texted me
I
at the
just-
end of the movie. At first, he's like, "It's not bad so far." I was like, "Oh, you're not at the end yet?" And he's like, "I hate Sam Raimi."
We get it. We get it.
Ah.
You made Evil Dead. You're the horror guy, zombies, weird stuff. It's like, okay, then just
That's why
just
you
go away.
hired him.
I hate it. I
Yeah.
hate it so much.
Yeah,
So, I didn't like it, and I don't know. I feel like they're trying to push Doctor Strange as the new Iron Man, and it doesn't work. I don't like it. So he's the new,
Yeah.
very sarcastic, uber smart, witty, and I don't like it. Like, you wear a cape. I don't love it. So, all right, that's really it. So, all right, that means since we gave you some movies I think we're all like, maybe watch, don't watch. I don't know. Avoid Megan is missing is all I was told. And so we need to dive in to Top Gun 1986. It just had a very, very successful sequel, but we're doing the original. Directed by Tony Scott, released in 1986, written by Jim Cash, Jack Epps Jr., and Ahud Yoneh. Starring Tom Cruise, starring Tim Robbins. Oh my gosh,
That's not true.
It's got second billing on IMDb. He's like
He's in it for
in
5
the
seconds.
He's
It's
in
a
the background
memorable
of a
role.
shot. So,
Merlin
He's
is
not even-
awesome.
he's not even in the credits though. Like, as like
Leave
when they
Tim
do
Robbins alone.
Wolfman in Hollywood, it's like they don't even show Merlin. It's like, oh my gosh, whatever. Tim
They
Robbins.
think
were not
IMDb
bidding on his Hollywood success.
IMDb just forgot to get rid of that after Shawshank came out. They're like, okay, well,
Yep,
we need to
yep,
readjust
yep.
that.
That's what happened. IMDb just said put Tim Robbins up top. So it's like when you go and you see like a $5 DVD and like Brad Pitt's on the cover, but he's in the movie for 5 seconds. It's just they
Like True
re-released it.
Romance.
They're like
yeah.
they're like push Brad Pitt to the cover. So yeah, okay.
I won't lie that Tim Robbins, I the first time I watched it, I don't even think I ever saw him. And during my rewatch, I was like, oh, he was there? He was that character?
At the start,
Like,
yeah.
it's just a very
Technically,
minor role.
He
And
is
at
in
the
the.
end.
He's in the. Yeah, he's on the front. He bookends the movie. So
I recognized him
Yeah.
immediately. You know why? Because he's 6'6". There's no way he's in a jet.
That's
He
what
is-
I
he
was
is-
saying.
He is a foot taller than every other pilot. So
Do we see him stand in this movie? I think we just see him in jets.
No.
in the end, when they're all celebrating, he's looking down
yes.
at everyone like a giant. So it's a sore thumb because he became uber famous and because he's super tall.
Oh, man.
So
Well, yeah.
anyways,
Twice as large as
sorry. Starring Tom Cruise, Kelly McGinnis, and Anthony Edwards and Val
There you
Kilmer. Like, we'll give that the top billing. All right, so gosh, IMDb just threw me way off right out the gate. So let's look at the useless critic stats. Okay, first of all, IMDb, it has a 6.9 out of 10. Its Metacritic is a 50 out of 100. It's Rotten Tomatoes, critics, not fans, 58%, but an 83% audience score. So the critics, not huge on it. People love it, though. And then the Letterboxd was a 3.4 out of 5. Roger Ebert, he gave it a meh 2.5 stars. It's really
Not bad.
in most of the his review is just like, it's pretty good, but it's like he said, when it's good, it's great. When it's bad, it's relentless. And I think that's an apt review, honestly. I think that could have been his whole review. It's just when it's great, it's great. When it's bad, oh man, is it really hard to watch. All right, so that's the use of Critic Stats. And so Top Gun, it's if you've never seen it, if you want to plot, I mean, if you're listening to this, you should probably pause and go watch the movie, or we're gonna spoil a lot of things for you. But it is it's 1986. We're cool, we're in the clear. But it's about a Navy pilot school. It's a weird military movie that doesn't take place in a war.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very odd. That's very rare that you're gonna. It's like it's most. If we're seeing soldiers, if we're seeing jets, there's a war going on or aliens invading. Top Gun's about
and they go out of
school.
their way to like make sure they don't specify any particular enemy. Like they just refer to the enemy as the enemy.
Oh yeah, that's all. That's it. They have a red star on their helmet. That's it. So that's what the bad guys wear. And
Fill in
so
the blank.
Yeah. Whichever
your own
bad
mind
guy.
up.
They made the movie timeless. Whenever you watch it, America's mad at somebody. It's just input. They even tint the enemy like goggles so you can't see
Yep.
skin color or anything.
Yep.
No distinguished features. It's just faceless, nameless enemy. So, yep. I
Not a
like
bad
it.
way to
That's
go.
actually a smart move. Yeah, smart move, Top Gun. Smart move. So, but before we dive too deep into what we really feel like, in terms of Top Gun and how we feel about it personally, we've got to really think about 1995 because we're going to take this movie into 1995. So we've got to really figure out the cinematic landscape we're bringing it into. Because this is a very 80s movie.
Yes.
This is pre-Nirvana, and so everything gets a little more gross and dingy in the 90s, especially the mid 90s, because the 90s themselves had an identity crisis. They never really figured out what was going on. And so that's the hell we're bringing Top Gun into. So that means we need to see what was the top 10 at the box office in 1995. I guarantee you Nick knows the number 1, but we're going to start with number 10. Die Hard with a Vengeance. That makes me proud that the third Die Hard movie was top 10 at the box office in 1995. Number 9, Seven. Just
Interesting.
Seven, as I just said, got real dark and dingy in the mid 90s.
Quite the transition.
Woo!
Yes.
Number 8, Casper. We're allowed
Hey,
a little more.
okay,
Yeah,
all right.
woo!
Some Sawa.
Number 7.
All right.
Yeah.
Those are 3 different films.
Like I said, there was an identity crisis in the 90s. Decade did not know what it was. Number 7, Jumanji. Number 6,
Nice.
GoldenEye. Recent episode, GoldenEye. Number 5, Ace Ventura 2, When Nature Calls. Number 4, we're entering the post Disney Renaissance here with Pocahontas. Number 3, Ron Howard's Apollo 13. Coming in at number 2, superhero films aren't quite what they are yet, but Batman Forever, which I stand by is a solid movie.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%.
Number 1, the beginning of Pixar, Toy Story, came in at number 1.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but you read that list of 10 films. I don't think there's any 2 films on that list that are the same genre.
It's pretty all
It's
over
pretty
the place.
mixed. There's a mixed bag. Comedy, Batman,
So
Superman.
is mid 90s the craziest of times or the best of times for a moviegoer? I say yes.
Must be the best, surely.
It's something. That's what it is. It's
Yeah, that's not.
Yeah, everything's in
And
it.
it's-
Thriller, spy, everything.
But it's also a time when like something was in theaters for like 4 months, and like most of your movie theaters were like four screens, so you just kind of went and saw everything, I guess. If you were like a 20-something in the 90s.
This is one of those years where like you would see like 4 classic. People will post in memes now where it's like 4 classic movies are out the same weekend, and I'm like, that's the best day of the whole year.
Oh my gosh, yeah. To be alive in the 90s at a good age to watch 4 movies back to back. Yeah. Insane.
I need to ask a question, though I don't want this to be a tangent, but coming in at number 12 was Waterworld. I want to know if any human being has ever actually watched Waterworld from beginning to end. Because everyone I've ever
Negative.
met,
Never seen it.
Yeah,
everyone I've
never
ever
seen
met
it.
has started Waterworld and not gone to the end. Because it's like
That-
3 hours. And
Oh.
Yeah.
it's really long, and it's kind of boring for a movie where Dennis Hopper's a water pirate fighting Kevin Costner. On paper, looks great, but it's like
Amazing.
apparently really boring. And so
Wow.
I've started
Oh, Nick,
and never
it
finished so-
drags. I've never finished it. I
It's-
think Dennis Hopper's probably the best part of that movie that I saw anyway. But
Dennis
it was like
Hopper's the
Kevin
best
Costner's
thing about a
passion.
lot of bad movies. So
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
true. It's true.
for sure.
All right. So that's what the people were watching. Everything. So I feel like Top Gun can fit in here. Like it's just another thing. And so let's see what the Oscars, let's see what the cinephiles were really celebrating this year in 1995. So the Oscars 1995, Best Actress in a Supporting Role went to Mira Sorvino for Mighty Aphrodite. Never heard of it. Actor in a Supporting Role went to Kevin Spacey for The Usual Suspects. Maybe some tarnish on that one now. I'm not sure. Actress in a leading role went to Susan Sarandon for Dead Man Walking. And then actor in a leading role went to our boy, Nicolas Cage, for Leaving Las Vegas.
Oh, boy.
nice.
Dude, he beat Sean Penn and Anthony Hopkins. I'm just saying. Way to go, Cage.
Wow.
Way
He
to
was
go.
he was playing a role where he was drunk for most of it. With
Yeah,
Leaving Las Vegas,
yes.
and I remember he did a very Nicolas Cage thing. He would film himself actually drunk to learn how to act drunk, which is just hashtag Nicolas Cage, and that beat Sean Penn and Anthony Hopkins apparently. So, yeah.
Ow.
Yeah. Okay.
Incredible.
That's fair. That's fair.
Wait.
Best Picture for 1995. The nominees were Sense and Sensibility, The Postman, which was actually a foreign film. It's not the Kevin Costner.
Oh.
Postman movie that came out later.
I was like, wow.
Yeah. There's
Watch the
Il
Postman.
Postino was nominated.
Got it.
Apollo 13.
Hmm.
Babe, the pig movie, directed by
Yes!
George Miller. The Talking Pig movie, directed by the guy that would make Mad Max Fury Road, was nominated for Best Picture in 1995.
I love it.
But they
That'll
were all
do.
beaten out by Mel Gibson's Braveheart. So Braveheart won
okay,
in 1995. So
The by the book Oscar winner there.
True.
Yeah.
true.
Kind of-
Braveheart. I mean, you haven't seen it yet, have you, Nick?
I have not seen Braveheart yet.
Are you
It is-
planning
it
to
is
see it in
definitely
the
on-
future?
Yeah. I need to sit down and watch it. It's on. I need to just add it to the top of my list. So
Yeah, I think because both Mel Gibson and Kevin Costner, both known as actors, went for their passion projects. One failed and one succeeded. And I think that's why Waterworld had that reputation, because Braveheart was just completely wiping the floor and getting a lot of traction. And
yeah, we're
Waterworld
definitely
was
in that
literally
period.
in
Yeah,
the
we're
dust.
definitely in that period where megastars are like getting to just go, well, I've made a bunch of money for you, so now I get to make what I wanted to make.
Yeah.
Very obviously
Well,
that's a huge
like Cory
example.
said. Exactly, like Air, for instance, Ben Affleck's sort of passion project, and it's happening now and then. I
Yeah.
think he's a fantastic director. So
Yeah.
but yeah, it is happening more and more.
well, so the Oscars, which seemed a little drunk, like Nicolas Cage, with Babe, kind of sneaking in there at the end. So that's what the cinephiles were into. But now we need to look at what Hollywood doubled down on. And oh my gosh, in 1995, like the 94 through 96 span, they doubled down on everything. Like, it's like every movie they said, just make an extra in case. Like, 94, 95 had Camp Nowhere and Heavyweights, which is like kids taking over a camp. 94, 95 both had the drag queens going on a road trip movie with Tu Wong Fu, which we've done, and Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. 1995
Nice.
alone had Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and Double Dragon, all martial arts based
Amazing.
video game adaptations. You had the
Perfect.
Bruce, Rob Roy, and Braveheart were all Scottish war epics. And then, of course, we had Kid in King Arthur's Court and Kids of the Round Table. We had to throw kids at King Arthur. We had Striptease and Showgirls. We had both movies about strippers with one really famous actress in the lead and one like girl from Saved by the Bell in the lead, which, we knew. And then last but not least, we had Gordy and Babe. We had 2 talking pig movies.
I have seen both.
I have never
Do
seen
not
Gordy.
watch Gordy. Do not recommend Gordy. It's just
no?
a cash grab, straight to VHS Disney rip off, basically.
Oh, way to sell it, Nick.
Whoa. Gordy came out first. I looked it up.
Listen, just because it came out first doesn't mean it was best. All right.
It doesn't mean a thing.
It doesn't mean anything.
I'm just saying, I think the Oscar nominee might have done the ripping off. That's all I'm saying. So,
yeah.
Well, they did it better.
All right. So 1995 is just, it's open. I feel like we're not doing anything crazy by bringing Top Gun here. Maybe we're just even adding a little balance to 1995. Because goodness gracious, this year is all over the place. I feel like you can do no wrong in 1995. This is Hollywood, whatever, you just throw something at the wall and see if it sticks. And in a lot of cases, you throw the same thing at the wall twice and see if it sticks. And so...
one of them has to, yeah.
All right. So, are there any films that you guys need to talk about that have not been mentioned yet that are you want to see or you would recommend, whatever, in 1995?
Yeah,
I think Cass could go first.
Yeah, Cash, you.
Sorry, didn't mean to stop.
She's writing down her list.
Ash, go ahead. We'll give her some time.
No, Cash, you go right ahead.
Jeez, when I feel pressured. I did write Mortal Kombat down because it's not the best movie, but it's still a fun watch.
For sure, yeah.
I also wrote down Tommy Boy and Major Payne.
Oh my God,
those are good comedies, solid comedies.
The mid 90s were they were pretty top tier.
Yeah,
with the comedies.
Yeah, and for another fun one, I put Friday.
Nice.
What about you, Nick?
In terms of movies that I love that haven't been talked about yet, Desperado is just a fun movie. Really enjoy it. I would be remiss if we didn't talk about Heat. That's a pretty classic movie right there. And then we also have The Quick and the Dead this year, which I know Corey hates Sam Raimi, but I really enjoyed his Western for some reason.
Quick and the Dead is a great movie. That's the thing.
It is.
Why couldn't
It's
you latch onto that, man? Latch onto that.
Corey, I have a question. Did you enjoy The Evil Dead?
No, I hated the Evil Dead's a trash movie that gets oversold because it's an independent film. And then all he did was when he... But Evil Dead 2, whenever he said, "Oh, I'm just going to remake it now that I have money," it's a fun movie, and I think Army of Darkness is a good movie. I don't know. I think he gets oversold. That's all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he did a good job with the Spider-Man movies, and I don't know. I'm on the fence with Sam Raimi. I love his movies. Like Drag Me to Hell was like a very classic horror film made in the post 2000 movies. It was just very 80s, but. Yeah.
In all fairness, I have not sat down and watched Drag Me to Hell yet, and I need to because I hear nothing but delightful things. So
you might have some redemption for Sam Raimi if you watch it. I actually enjoyed Drag Me to Hell, especially for the time it came out when the horror films were not on point at all. But he sort of revived it with that movie. But yeah, sorry, Nick.
Check it out.
No, you're good. You're good. Ash, I guess, have you gone yet?
No. I mean, yeah, I'll go for a really obvious one just because I love this movie and sort of going on with Top Gun, Don Simpson, Jerry Bruckheimer, and again Tony Scott. Crimson Tide came out in 1995. I honestly think it's one of the best films in the 90s. It was one of the first films I did for my podcast. Sort of it's just I think it's an important film for many reasons. I think the film began using that sort of electrical harmonics in the score, which sort of introduced Hans Zimmer, which made Hans Zimmer go above John Williams. I think that was the pinnacle point where Hans Zimmer was more known than John Williams. And then sort of the passing of the mantle between Denzel and Gene Hackman, that very sort of cool, like ironic thing. And the film introduced so many layers and boundaries to cinematic, turnovers. And then the cast, Viggo Mortensen, Gandolfini, and the uncredited rewrites by Tarantino. I just think it's a fantastic movie. It's just worth a mention. There was another film. There's a film called Fluke. I think it was a Disney film. I watched it when I was very young. I don't know if anyone's seen Fluke. It's basically Jack Frost, but with dogs instead of a snowman. The father sort of dies, and then he's reborn as a puppy. And then when the puppy grows up, he has the memory of the father in his past life, and he tries to find his family. And eventually, they find his family, and they're trying to adopt this puppy. It's a really emotional movie. Samuel L. Jackson does the voice of one of the dogs. But I watched this as a young child, and I thought, what is this movie? Because it was really emotional. And this was pre-Jack Frost as well. So that's why Jack Frost had an impact on me too. And then
you said Jack Frost, and my mind went to like the Martin Short in the Tim Allen Santa Claus Jack Frost.
Santa Claus
like,
3. No,
yeah,
the Michael
not
Keaton
the Michael
Jack
Keaton.
Frost. Yeah, the Michael Keaton, the good one, the really emotional one. I love that. That also made me cry. But yeah, if you want to check out a film, Fluke, it's really, really awesome. And then just worth mentioning Casino as well. Martin Scorsese's Casino. I think it's actually better than Goodfellas in many ways. I think it's got such good. Yeah, I think it's such a deep dive into Las Vegas in a way you've never seen. I think Sharon Stone's probably given her career best performance in it. So does Joe Pesci. I think the film supersedes a lot of Scorsese's movies. I think it's one of his best movies, to be honest. But yeah, I thought I'd give that a mention as well, because it's sort of been lost in time because of all the noise Scorsese's done with like The Departed and Wolf of Wall Street and these kind of movies. And Goodfellas gets talked about a lot, and I don't think Casino has its due attention paid to it, I think. But yeah, I love Casino.
I think Casino is Scorsese's best movie.
Yeah, it's terrific film.
So I've got some deep dives. So everyone knows I love Congo. I think it's better than Jurassic Park. Everyone should watch Congo. There's a great movie called 4 Rooms. That's like a bunch of little mini short films, all set in a hotel, based around Tim Roth playing a bellboy. Quentin Tarantino directs one of them and writes one. It's pretty great. It's fun. Now and Then is one of the best coming of age films of all time. I love it. Devon Sawa's in it. That sells cast on it. He's a kid, obviously, but it's great. Okay, but the 3 that people really need to see, It Takes Two is the greatest Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen movie ever made. It's the top.
It's true. It's
the top. It's the best one.
Sure.
Everyone should see it. It's just a Parent Trap ripoff, really, but it's great. And it's better, honestly, than both of the Parent Trap movies.
Real twins. With real twins, Corey.
And it's got Steve Guttenberg. So it's just everything. Nick of Time, which is Johnny Depp's like only attempt at being an action star, because it was the 90s. And I think everyone had to take a shot at it. But it's great. Christopher Walken's the villain. And it's a cool movie because it's like Johnny Depp's daughter's kidnapped, and they say, hey, you have an hour and 20 minutes to kill the governor. And the movie takes place in real time. There's now an hour and 20 minutes where you're following.
I've never
Johnny
heard of
Depp.
that film.
It's pretty good. And though I think it's really clear when you're watching it that Johnny Depp's not an action star. Like, he's pretty weird. It's like he doesn't quite find his footing as action guy. So, and then last but not least, there is a movie that is the most 90s film I think there is, called Virtuosity. It's Denzel Washington playing a cop hunting a pretty much unknown at the time Russell Crowe, who is a virtual reality psychopath who comes into the real world. It's amazing. It's amazing.
It's like a B movie.
Adding to my list right now.
But it's Denzel versus
putting that above Braveheart. Sorry,
like
Ash.
versus like this virtual reality AI Russell Crowe, and it's Russell Crowe does so good as the villain in this. It's amazing. But everything about the movie is so dated. It's absolutely dated. It's just like based around like 90s tech that never went further than the 90s, really. So,
man, that's such a good pick. I totally forgot about the existence of that movie, but I watched American Gangster, and I was reading the trivia, and they were like, on the trivia page, this is the second time Russell Crowe and Denzel have been in the film together. I was like, really? What other film have they been together? And this film came up, watched it. It was so bad, it was really good. And it had these A-listers in it, and I was like, I can't help but get absorbed into this. The special effects were awful, but it was so good.
The director of Lawnmower Man. Perfect. I'm in.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Hey, Lawnmower Man is a classic.
Oh man, Lawnmower Man is really good. It's pretty much the same thing. It's like a movie based around this technology that never survived the year. So it's insane. All right, cool. So we gave you guys a lot to add to your watch list for 1995. I feel like so. All right, this is where we dive into Top Gun, and we begin by asking Cass, you're the director, you picked Top Gun.
Yeah.
Why Top Gun? Why are we here?
I really enjoyed both Top Gun and the sequel to it. I think it's just like a real like fun movie with I mean, I feel like it's a very Tom Cruise movie to begin with. But I feel old.
Use your words.
Let me check my notes on what I said. No, I just really enjoyed Top Gun. I think it's a fun movie. I've always actually, this is the first time I've ever brought this up, but I've always actually wanted to be a pilot, but I think I'm scared of landing a plane more than anything. I think my anxiety kind of stops
That's fair.
that.
Yeah,
but,
I could get that.
But I think it would be like really fun to bring it into the 90s because of how the 90s like would like how it's set in the 90s where with the comedy and the sort of action. But I wanted to actually ask you guys, do you think it would still be rated PG if we brought it into 95?
Tough one.
Yeah,
I mean-
I think it would, just because it's built to appeal to that age group. It's not really built to be like a dramatic thing that adults are gonna just dive right into. It's over the top so much that, and the music involved, and like it's a bunch of hot bodies doing stuff. So like, yeah, it's definitely like a teenager's dream. So
Including the sex scene?
yes.
Okay.
I feel like the sex
I-
scene wasn't like over the top or anything.
Really?
No.
I think it's just awkward, and honestly,
Yeah.
by the time they have sex, I never want to hear the synth bass line to take my breath away. Like I almost shot. At that point, I just want to take a gun
literally.
to my head because it's just like,
Yeah.
okay. Every time these two are on screen, it's boom, 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 and it's like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah, I think Roger Ebert said it best. When it's bad, and that was one of the bad
Oh.
parts of the movie for me.
What I just meant was that it's
But
not
it's iconic.
graphic, but yes, it is stretched out. Yeah.
It's
Well-
stretched out, but I don't know. It's just I feel like that's a lot for it to be a PG movie.
But here's
there's
the
no
thing.
profanity in the. There's no swear. They
Nah.
don't swear. There's
No,
nudity. So maybe the
There's
90s
no-
might introduce
No,
it.
a very sensual scene that is very. I literally rewatch. I skipped all of it.
There are plenty
Wow.
of there's plenty of sex scenes that are way more like sensual and sexual
Maybe.
that don't show anything versus like an R-rated movie that shows you everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
It
like-
depends. I mean, and yeah. But 1995 had a lot of like a Basic Instinct just came out. Showgirls were out. I mean,
Right.
Disclosure just came out. So Fatal Attraction came out the year before. So
Mhm.
maybe it does change the rating system. I don't know. Maybe there is a more graphic sex scene.
You also have to look at the point of Top Gun, though. It's propaganda. This led
Yep.
to like more people joining the Navy than like anything. It essentially proved
Yep.
Hollywood can get people to join the Navy. So
Mm.
the movie has to target like 13 to 18-year-olds. They got to get them
Right,
amped up and ready to enlist. So they can't afford to go R. They need to at least keep it PG-13. They got to get them while
I mean,
they're young.
the newest Maverick was
Yes,
PG-13.
PG-13.
And it
Yeah.
also got a bunch of people to sign up for the Navy. So
Exactly. Yeah.
That's wild.
But
It
I feel
is.
like if it's set it like if it was PG-13, you would see a lot more like fire, like that sort of like anger and like Maverick in certain scenes, the like cockiness. Like I could see him almost like like this conversation with him and Goose, or like him and Sundown when they're like getting off the
Mhm.
plane and he like grabs a hold of like Sundown like and like says like I'll shoot when I'm ready, or I think that's what he said.
I think-
Something like that.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of clever because it sort of exists on like innuendos all the time. Like the movie's packed
Yeah.
full of them, and I think you've sort of answered your own question because Maverick, Top Gun Maverick, is a PG-13, and it has the same tone the first one had. So, and it worked. It had that banter, it had that innuendos, that sexual tension.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe if you go, it depends on like what Cory said. Where do you want to take Top Gun in the 1995?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I picked this movie because I really do like it, and I'm really curious to see what you guys do with it.
I will say
Mistake
this.
number one.
I will say this.
Good luck.
Iron Eagle, the Top Gun ripoff franchise, number 4 comes out in 1995, so it's gonna have to compete with Iron Eagle
Good
4.
luck.
So,
There we go.
so I was gonna say there's gonna be some beef there. So yeah, I think that is an interesting question, but yeah, I don't think it would change, just mainly because of what the movie wants to achieve. And this is a pretty toned down film. It's not too violent, not too crazy, but like,
No.
here's my question: is Top Gun a bad movie? Because I think it's a bad movie. I don't think it's very good.
It's very 80s.
Yeah,
it's a fun watch. It's not my favorite 80s movie, but it's a fun watch.
But here's my thing. I'm the 80s guy. I love 80s cinema.
know.
And this movie was like hard to watch. And but in all fairness, I was watching it this is the first time I've ever seen it. And I was watching it with like 30 years of hindsight, kind of like Ash was describing with M. You've got this lens of like, all right, I'm watching this movie that I've heard about relentlessly over and over again, especially in the last year with the sequel. And I'm sitting down and watching it, and it's like, man, this is about Navy school. Like, this is kind of dumb. So
I think the sequel does it justice in a way. Like,
I'm excited to watch it. I am.
Yeah, I feel like when I watched Top Gun Maverick, I enjoyed that a lot more than the first movie, because I just felt like it did sort of do like a little nice tie-in together with what happened in the first film.
Yeah, it avoids the trap fall of being a legacy sequel that feels unnecessary. Like the production of it, the level of quality that Maverick puts out, like it makes it worthy of existing, basically.
Yeah, I think it was just, I think Bruckheimer coming back had a massive part to play. I think it was just handled very well. I know Tony Scott was one of the big missing factors of the movie, but it was pulled off. And to answer your earlier question, Cory, is this film a bad movie? I don't know. I mean, it depends what you think a bad movie is. I still felt great after the movie. I was exhilarated. I think the soundtrack has a lot to do with that. But yeah, maybe the cinematography wasn't great, and maybe there were some really cheesy moments. But does it make it a bad movie? I don't know. It's hard to say what makes a bad movie, because there are bad movies that I love, and there are good movies I hate. So it depends what you want from a film when you watch it. So
again, I'm Captain 80s over here, and a lot of 80s movies are considered bad movies. And so here's my biggest thing. I don't think Top Gun has a plot that runs throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
I think it's got a bunch of mini plots that comes off like, this would have been a great series. This would have been a good season of a show about Top Gun Naval Academy. But it's like, the plot changes constantly, like, or what we're like focused on. I mean, even the love story, he didn't really have to work that hard, and we're never afraid they're gonna break up. It's just they like each other, and there's no conflict there, and it's just. And the third act, they introduce a crisis of conscience, and that's like the biggest plot of the movie. Is like, for 15 minutes, we're like, can Tom Cruise still fly a plane? But it doesn't run the whole movie, and it's like. Even the first 3 minutes they get into the Top Gun Academy, and that seemed like that'd be a plot of a movie in of itself, is getting into the elite school, but they're in right away because that one guy quits.
Cougar.
And then we never get like only the top 10 actually become naval pilot. It's just, the whole movie is just kind of weirdly plot jumping in a weird way.
Yeah.
And I think you're actually right, because I'm trying to think of the basic beginning to end story of what the film is trying to do, and it's a bit muddled, it's a bit messy, and I think, you've got scenes where they're singing, you've got scenes when they're about to have sex, you've got scenes when they're having some random locker room moments, and it doesn't seem, and it does actually gel well, but I think it's in tone with what the film's trying to achieve, because the volleyball scene, people were saying, Tony Scott said he did that for a homosexual audience, which was, which was great at the time. It's very ahead of its time for 1980s. But I think you're right. You've got all these like pieces of a puzzle mashed in, but it does work because you're just enjoying the ride. And I think the music it's like one big music video with a semblance of a plot,
Right.
a resonance of a plot.
It really is.
Yes.
And you've got these big action stars. Well, I say action stars, good looking, Val Kilmer, Tom Cruise. It just you can't take your eyes off it. And for that,
It's like
that experience is good.
It's like Flashdance, like I said earlier. It's a bunch of great moments put together to make a movie. It's music videos, visuals, like having like the shot in your head of the volleyball scene, the sex scene, the flying the planes for the first time, defeating the quote unquote enemy at the end. You sit there and go, "Oh, I love that scene." But then if you were to sit there and say, "Explain to me the plot," or like the character arc of Tom Cruise's Maverick,
100%,
and you're like, the music was really good.
Yeah, no, and I think, no,
So,
sorry,
okay. First of all, I'm not bashing anyone that likes this movie, because I feel like in 3 days I'm gonna
Cory hates you
movie more now than I. It's a fresh watch. I'm trying to like compartmentalize a lot of it, so I'm not bashing anyone that likes Top Gun. I can see the pieces that people love, but y'all said Val Kilmer. I was very disappointed at how much he's not in the movie. I needed way more Val Kilmer. He's not an antagonist. I was led to believe Iceman's the bad guy. He's like the most respectable, polite, professional antagonist in movies. His biggest problem with Tom Cruise is, I don't trust you. We have to go out and do dangerous things together in really fast planes, and you're kind of selfish.
Right. Maverick is kind of the bad guy.
Well,
he really is.
He's a Maverick.
Well, you could tell that even like in the beginning when Val Kilmer is first introduced, like there is that sort of like cockiness, but it kind of goes away. It's not cockiness, it's confidence. Whereas like with Maverick, it is cockiness. It is that like, oh no, I know what I'm doing. And it's like, do you? Because you're about to kill you and Goose. Like
yeah. And that's sorry.
Go ahead,
Cory.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think exactly what you were saying, Cory. Like, it doesn't have a plot, and it goes as well. Like, this thing doesn't have the formulas of a stock character. So you don't have a generic good guy or a bad guy. That's sort of muddled. You're kind of following a cocky, arrogant guy who you probably are this close to not liking, but somehow we have to like Tom Cruise. You have the same sort of like thing in A Few Good Men. Like, I sort of hate Tom Cruise in the first 20 minutes, but then after it, you're rooting for him to save Santiago and the other guy in court, and it's just he had that persona, and he sort of switched that around. So it's full of 80s formula and 80s tools. I don't know if it makes it a bad movie. It's a good question. It's a very good question, but yeah, Val Kilmer's character isn't a bad guy. He has that look about him, but everything he says, you're like, yeah, he does have a point, especially watching it when you're older.
I mean, even at the end where they're like, Maverick's going to be the reserve guy going out on their actual mission, and he's like so polite. He goes up to the officer and says like, hey, this isn't personal, and with all due respect, I just don't know if Maverick's the guy. Thank you, sir. And it's like, dude, this guy's like, he's afraid of dying. That's all it is.
Right.
like, he's not really a bad guy. It's just like, hey, we've seen this guy freak out the last month of Top Gun school. I don't know if we should be taking him out there. That's I don't know. All right. That's fine.
Cass, what were you gonna say?
And especially like Goose's death. Like, can you imagine? They're like, sundown, you're with Maverick. He's like, shit. Like, oh no.
Oh no.
Oh jeez.
Gonna kill me off.
It's like you got thrown in a cockpit with the most reckless guy in school, who's now shell-shocked, but you're the black guy in an 80s movie. You're like, I'm not getting in this plane at all. Forget it. Like, no. Like,
Yo, and Maverick, go ahead.
No. Yeah, for sure. And then like Goose in his, first of all, no clue Meg Ryan was in this movie. I had no inkling. So the Tim Robbins thing was, it was amazing, but I was like, Meg Ryan shows up, kills
He's like
it.
pre-cameos.
But honestly, I kind of wanted I found myself saying, like, I just want a Goose Meg Ryan, like, Coen Brothers film, because they just feel like they just walked off a Coen Brothers set. And I was like, I want
Yeah.
this.
so good.
I want this movie, like, more than anything. So,
Yeah.
but no, it's a good movie. I like to Ash's point. The good bad is subjective. I just this movie was not what I expected at all.
I think
Not even
I
sort
think
of.
it
Yeah.
just comes down to like the plot was all over the place because you never were able to get a sort of solution. So it's like I feel like it would have been better if we got to see like Maverick and Iceman like actually talk a little bit more than Maverick and Viper. Like I felt like there was a lot of like Maverick and Viper scenes because it is
Yeah.
like that like who to look up to, but I would have loved to have seen like more like scenes with Maverick and Iceman just because
100%.
it was that sort of like that beef with each other, this like I'm better than you, no I'm better than you, but we didn't really get much more of that. It was just
But
like
that
he said his I'm sorry about Goose, like everyone liked him. I'm sorry, and like walks away, and then it's like towards the end, like they have their like little moment like after, and I don't know. I just think like there were certain scenes that were unnecessary that we could have dived deeper into other things.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
But what bothered me most about it was that they were all like, yeah, like Maverick, you need to get over it. Like this things like this happen. They're like things like this happen. Like you lose your like partner, like you can lose a part like your pilot in this kind of thing. And I'm like, that was his best friend. Like it wasn't just some like
listen,
partner.
Cass. When Big Starklighter died in the trenches of the Death Star, did Luke cry like a little baby and go back to Yavin? No, he got in there, he shot the shot, and he won the game. All right, moving on.
That's what they teach you in pilot school.
That's what heroes do.
Top
Listen, we gave
1%
you
of
a
the top 1%. Gotta have that mentality. It's Top Gun.
Shoot or
We
shoot,
gave you
Cass.
1 day. We gave you 1 day. Get back out there.
I'm just now convinced that Disney Plus is going to make a movie where Luke loses his confidence as an X-wing pilot for a little bit.
Oh my gosh! Hopefully, not.
Place in between movies. I mean, they're making everything else. So, all right. Here's my thing though. Who on set was constantly saying "spray more sweat" on these guys?
Oh my god!
They're in class, man. I like who's the sweat person on set that's got the bottle that's like spray. It's like, hey, they're in class. They're in a classroom right now. Like, I don't think that they need to be sweaty. And they're like, no,
That's the
more sweat.
There is an actual person for that. I don't know if you guys have seen A View to Kill with Matthew McConaughey and Sandra Bullock.
Yeah,
film. Yeah, and it's set in like the deep south, and they're always sweating in that movie. Like every scene, they've got some guy or makeup artist just putting patches of water on them, and I think it's the same person in superhero movies and Top Gun.
It is still the point. Why are they sweating so much?
So excessive.
I get the whole deep south courtroom, like old school, like guy with the foghorn leghorn accent, constantly pulling his handkerchief out and wipe it. Like I get that, but like them sitting in class in Top Gun, like is the AC out? I don't understand why they're all just covered
by the beach. They're at sea as well. There's a breeze,
I mean,
so they should be fine.
I guess.
I guarantee there is someone on that set that their job is just make spray bottles, make everyone look sweaty because it looks good on camera.
Yeah, for sure.
That is a Tony Scott staple. Every movie of his is like grimy and people are sweaty and like the colors are just all over the place, especially in like the late 90s, 2000s.
Yeah.
Tony Scott loves sweat.
It was set in San Diego. Like that's the
where
really?
They are is San Diego, California.
Well, I get that it's hot. I get they're in a hot location, but I feel like just when they're filming a classroom scene, there had to be a discussion when the sweat bottle guy walked up and started spraying Tom Cruise. I was like, I don't know if he needs to be sweating right now. I don't, unless there's going to be a plot point that the AC's out or something. I feel like they could be dry in class, but let me ask you this. Was Maverick's dad's backstory a little underwhelming to anyone else? Because they kept it a secret the whole time. And then it's just this weird scene where it's like, oh yeah, he died because he didn't go back and he saved some dudes. Anyways, over Goose's death.
Yeah, it's kind of like, again, like you were saying, like there's not a lot of thoroughness through the whole story, and they keep bringing up the stuff about his dad. Like it's almost this afterthought. You keep being reminded he's this cocky guy. He's trying to fall in love with Kelly McGinnis, and then every once in a while, the head coach the head pilot Captain Viper shows up and reminds him like, I knew your dad and stuff, but we don't. They just keep delaying like that information of like what really happened with your dad until the end, which I guess is a smart thing to do movie wise. But they didn't plant enough seeds throughout, like with his like explaining like, is this the way he is because of this, or just not enough.
I feel like
you're right. They didn't flesh it out, did they?
I feel like they just kept bringing it up. So when it finally happened, I thought it'd be the catalyst for him getting over everything. And it's just more like he just got some information and he was still shell shocked. He was like, oh, okay. So
exactly. And they used the exact same formula again in A Few Good Men, because the whole thing of him being a great lawyer is because his dad was a great lawyer. And then they used that catalyst later on for.
Listen, guys, Tom Cruise has some serious dad issues. Okay. Like it's just a thing. Like,
is A Few Good Men a sequel to Top Gun? Did he just quit and become a lawyer?
It's just like, it could be. I mean, there are a lot of similarities between the two movies when you look back.
There really are. Now that you're saying it, I'm like, and I love A Few Good Men, and I wasn't huge on Top Gun. It's weird.
Absolutely love it.
All right, my last thing is this, and it's not a big thing. Did it bug anyone else that he didn't rent the stupid beach house that he drove past 97 times in this movie? And it's just this very obvious beach house for rent sign with a number on it. And I kept thinking, he's going to rent that house. He's going to rent that house. It's right across the street from his girlfriend's house. He's going to rent the house. Why do I keep seeing the sign? He never rents the house, Nick.
They just shot it all in one day, and somebody forgot to remove the sign. They were like, it's California. People are buying and selling all the time. It makes sense. But they didn't think Cory would watch it 40 years later and go, when does he buy the house? Like this is his act of love. When does that scene happen? When he puts the speaker up.
It's ADHD, I think. I overthought it, but I was like, there's a reason I'm seeing this sign. There's a reason
it's a sign, man. It's a sign.
Like we have 5 different shots of him on his motorcycle next to this sign. At some point, it's like a symbol for commitment to Kelly McGinnis, and he's gonna rent it. And it never happens. I mean, it's fine. It's whatever. That's it. That's my last beef with Top Gun. So
hold up. My last thing is Merlin was in the beginning. They were all in that thing together. Why did it seem like they were only bringing in Maverick and Goose from there and taking them to Top Gun? Merlin was a part of that. How the hell did he get to Top Gun?
I don't know. He's got a cool name.
That partnership. Merlin and Cougar had that partnership, and because once you break one part of that cycle.
But he was like, Cougar was number 1. Now he's not. Now you guys are. So it's just like that's where I'm like, you would think like Merlin was kind of kicked out, but
Cast, stop breaking movies, okay?
Yeah, Merlin was cast aside.
You don't think when watching Top Gun, you just think, how fast can I get in the Navy?
Don't worry, we'll have Top Gun Merlin come out in 3 years' time, and we'll find out.
I know the answer. I know the answer. They didn't let him in, and they said, you're too tall. And he filed a lawsuit, a discriminatory lawsuit, and just to avoid a horrible trial of discrimination against tall people, they just let Merlin in. They just said,
I just love, and this is a complete just side note, fun fact, I just like that both of his kids are like 6 foot, just like him. They're both like 6 foot.
What, Tim Robbins?
Tim Robbins is 6'6".
No, what I'm saying, like
he's a power forward.
I don't know about his oldest, but his youngest is 6'1". So
yeah, he's like menacingly tall.
Still tall by lady standards. So
yeah,
that's tall. So
that's a little base requirement, Cory.
Yeah. I'm 5'10", so I am short. I might as well be 5'5" in lady terms.
If you say 5'10", you got your 6 foot. You just round up.
Just round up. I Hollywood it. I'm 6 feet. So Yeah, Cass, you brought up a good point. I don't know why Tom Cruise is wearing jeans during a volleyball game. It's
We've got. We know why. We know why. Come
It's-
on.
No.
it's odd. It's
You
I think
know.
it's chicken legs. I think he's just not confident in his calves. All right.
like
But was
Like
Val Kilmer wasn't wearing shorts? He was wearing jeans as well, wasn't he?
he was wearing sweatpants. He was wearing
Sweatpants, slightly better, still kind of gross. As long as none of them are wearing socks. That's like a thing you learn at church camp here in the United States. Is the kids who wear socks when they go play volleyball. Like you avoid those kids because the socks are ruined. They're just sweat and sand and like you don't even you throw them in the trash. That kid tries to bring him into the cabin and you're like, no, Carl,
God.
put him in the trash.
Nope.
Put him in the
Sand
trash.
will get everywhere.
So,
That is
yeah.
gross.
Listen, we know you haven't been outside that often. Like you're very sheltered in the trash.
Get that
Yeah.
suck away from me. Yeah.
Oh,
All right.
God, I got tears.
Okay, we gotta cast this movie. All right. But before we cast it, does this movie change really from 86 to 95 other than maybe some bad CGI? I don't know in 95.
I don't think there's any CGI, but I think you go from a very pop centric,
Yeah.
ballad heavy soundtrack. Then the question becomes: is there more of the hip hop influence? Is there more of the grunge influence of the
That's
soundtrack?
a very good point. Yeah, because the soundtrack I think carries the film in my opinion.
Mhm.
100%. The soundtrack.
I mean, we are totally 100% still in power ballads and movies area, so it's still could still have a lot of like "Take My Breath Away" style stuff.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
do you think the movie would end with "This Is How We Do It" by Montel Jordan?
No, I don't.
Well, I do think that instead of Danger Zone, we get Cotton Eye Joe at the beginning.
Oh
What
my-
is what?
Now
No,
that would
no.
I
kill
like it.
the tone
like
of.
it.
Oh my word! Oh no! Oh no!
If
I'll
anything,
t-
we
I'll
get like maybe Guns N' Roses, like
Yeah, maybe
like,
the punk rock era of.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a good question, Corey. Like, I think 1995, and correct me if I'm wrong, is probably the point of no return for nostalgia because I think everything included 95 and before 95 is impactful in today's cinema. Like, Die Hard 3 came out, and that was sort of the last Die Hards that sort of held on to the heart of rustic McLean. You got Toy Story that lives on with 5 sequels. James Bond came out. Crime films like Seven and Heat. I don't think that's ever been superseded ever. So 95 still has the top movies in those genres at the moment. And I think if you put it to 90, if you put Top Gun to 95, I think it still holds on to that rustic quality of the 80s in 95 still because I just think the music is like Corey said. Nick said I think the music is a massive impact. Also, who directs the movie as well is a massive one as well because there's a lot of Tony Scott in this movie, of course, like his customary ways of doing things, and it comes down to a lot of things.
I think I got the song. For the opening. I think if it's here, let's see.
What you got?
Boombastic by Shaggy.
Shaggy. Oh my word.
I was gonna say it's gonna be a Foo Fighters song from their first album.
Which one?
Well, I thought Given to Fly would be on there, but it's not, and that would have been like perfect. But
what was leading the charts in 1995? I'm gonna have a look.
I actually think Nick's right. I think in 95, by this point, you just start picking from the past, and I think you get Welcome to the Jungle as like
Guns N'
the
Roses.
opening scene. Yeah. Like
That
you're
would be
just
awesome,
gonna because I mean, honestly, if Top Gun's made a year later, there's a good chance it's Welcome to the Jungle instead of Danger Zone by Kenny Loggins.
Or maybe
so
it might even work with AC/DC. I don't know.
Yeah, I think Nick's right. I think we just pick some classic rock that at the time would not have quite yet been classic, but close. So
it's sort of the time where Michael Jackson's getting quite big with his well, he was big in the 80s.
Yeah, but he's still big.
Jackson peaked in the 80s, but yeah, he was still a thing. I think this like Guns N' Roses are on their last legs at this point.
Yeah,
and then we're switching over. Yeah,
Blue U2 were coming out.
I'll say this. I think there's a good chance that Kiss from a Rose doesn't go to Batman Forever, and that's the Take My Breath Away. I think Kiss from a Rose is now Top
Ooh.
Gun's Take My Breath Away. And you just get the do-do-do-do-do-do every time. Yeah. You just get that little melody every time the two leads are on screen. And then you're
That's a
tired
very
of it,
big year for Val Kilmer. Oh no, Val Kilmer obviously won't be in the Top Gun 95, will he?
But yeah.
No,
So,
sadly.
yeah, no. So
Unless.
yeah, I think that's it.
Or is he?
Yeah, all right, cool, great. I think we had to talk about the soundtrack. We had to. And I do think that's what changes the most. Okay, lastly, who directs this thing in 95?
My money's on Bay. I keep bringing it up for some reason on this show, but Michael Bay, I feel like would nail this.
His first film was in 95, wasn't it?
Oh, was it? What was
Bad
his
Boys,
first one?
Bad Boys.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah, we'll pull him off. Well, I don't. He'll double duty. I'm making him do double duty.
I don't know that our director's held to one movie. We can let our director.
Yeah, there we go.
Did you? I don't know. What about you, Corey? What do you reckon?
I just give it to John Woo. He's about to go on a run. Just give it to Woo.
Has Broken Arrow come out yet?
I think we're like. I think he's made like his foreign films. With what's that one guy, Chow Yun Fat, but.
Yeah.
Since this is Cage's Oscar, it's next year that he goes through his action phase.
His
and
that
brings us to John.
Unless.
So.
Yeah. It's a tough one. Yeah, I'd probably maybe give someone like John Carpenter after I saw what he did with Escape from LA. Maybe that sort of vibe.
Okay.
Something like that. It's hard to see John Carpenter do a film like that, but he might be able to pull it off. But
maybe Gus Van Sant?
Yeah, well, but he's very arty though, isn't he?
Yeah, but you want a little artsiness with your pop propaganda.
Yeah.
I was
Roland Emmerich.
Cass,
I was just gonna be fun with my pick and just say Tim Robbins. Just
the director.
Yeah.
Straight off Shawshank.
I thought you were gonna say Tim Burton. I was like, that would be interesting.
That would be very interesting.
It'd be wild.
I was gonna say Tim Robbins.
That would be crazy.
Black and white striped jets.
Skulls on their planes.
All right. Okay, let's cast this movie.
1995.
Someday.
Austin 316.
Bugs Bunny. Like scary movies.
Battle with Sinbad.
Welcome to
The Rock.
You have arrived.
Top Gun. All right. So, Cass, you've chosen the movie, which means you're going to be the director, which means you've given cast lists to Ash and Nick, and they've prepared those. And so we're going to take this movie role by role, not every role, just the roles that we find near and dear. And they're going to pitch you their actors, and you're going to choose. However, Nick and Ash, you are bound by rules. Rule number 1, anyone you cast in Top Gun 1995 must be alive in 1995. Can't bring anyone back from the dead, even if we have time-traveling powers. Rule number 2, anyone you cast in Top Gun 1995 must be free to do so. They can't be in prison or tied up in anything like that. And I think we've added pregnancy to that. I think they can't be pregnant. They need to be able to show up on set.
Cass.
And so...
Got it.
And then rule number 3, anyone that you cast in Top Gun 1995 must be active. They must already be acting, and we define that as they must have at least one acting credit in 1995 or prior to. Can't discover new talent. And then lastly, rule number 4, anyone you cast in Top Gun 1995 loses all major film roles in 1995. We're holding them to just this movie. That way we can't just go picking whoever we want. We have to put little landmines out there. So tread carefully, because apparently 1995 is dear to us in all of its chaotic glory.
If anyone touches Muppet Treasure Island, I will come at you.
Tim Curry would make a great Viper, just saying. So, Cass, since you're the director, you do have 2 power-ups. You have the switcheroo, which means at any point you can switch 2 actors that are on the board in their given roles. If you just think after it's all over, said and done, things look better this way, You can do that. And then you have the director override, which means at any point during the casting of a particular role, can't do it retroactively, must happen during the casting of the role. You can tell Nick and Ash that they're stupid, who they picked is stupid, and that their moms are stupid, and that you're going to pick your own person, but you're bound by the same rules. So you can put your own actor in once. If you should feel, if Nick and Ash let you down. If they don't let you down, then that's great. Sometimes the casters do really well. Rarely. And then I'm hosting, but we've decided to give me a power up because apparently I need to be more involved. But I'm the host.
Yeah.
So during these 4-person episodes, whoever's hosting will be given the what do we call it, Nick? We came up with a bunch of names.
Rejection.
The rejection, which means at any point, only once, if cast chooses an actor that I don't like, I'm rejecting it, and it goes to the other caster. So if I feel like cast chose wrong, I can do it, but I can only do it one time. However, the director override, if it's still in play, can veto my rejection. If it's still in play, but
Things could get messy.
So we've we have now created the old standoff here. We all got guns pointed at each other here. I love it. So, all right. That means we got to look at who we're doing. We have a 30 seconds or less for here. All right. Cool.
We do.
Yes.
So, is this correct? Because there's like
I just cleaned it up.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then like there's a 15.
What?
12, 13.
I didn't go down.
What?
So I'm starting at 11?
No.
Yes,
What?
yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, because
okay.
we took out the other ones, Nick.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay. Got it. Okay.
Cool. All right. Oh, man, I'm glad y'all kept Chester. Okay, I'm glad. I just want to say that I think Jester and Viper, I did not know that I needed a Tom Skerritt Michael Ironside tag team until I saw this movie. But there's no way those guys don't have like 2,000 confirmed enemy kills. Like just
That's true.
those two.
Yeah.
Those guys are
history
pure
is
Super intimidating.
They are. I'm just like, dang, dude, this is incredible. All right, so we have a 30 seconds for less round, which means these are the roles we love, but they're just not quite enough to talk about or spend too much time because we can't be here for 5 hours. So we're gonna speed cast these people. And the rules are really not in play for 30 seconds or less. It's kind of a free for all. We just wanna put it out there. We just want to flesh out the movie a little bit. And kind of also get the engines going for when we get to the top half. So those roles will be CDR Tom Stinger Jardian, played by James Tolkien, Lieutenant Rick Hollywood Nevin, played by Whip Hubley. That is a great name. I don't even know it. LTJG Marcus Sundown Williams, played by Clarence Gilliard. LTJG Sam Merlin Wells, played by Tim Robbins, who's in this movie for 30 seconds and got second billing on IMDb. LCDR Rick Jester Heatherly, played by the incredible Michael Ironside. All right, so Cass, I'm giving it over to you. When you say go, they'll both shoot you an actor, and you'll just as quickly as possible cast someone.
All right. So I'm gonna start with Ash.
Oh God.
So let's go with Stinger.
Okay, for Stinger, I have got Mr. Mustache himself, William H. Macy.
Ooh.
Oh,
See what I'm doing there? Kat?
yeah,
Lend your
yeah,
heartstring.
yeah.
Shame.
Nick.
I have
Shameless.
Michael Rooker, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh no!
Ha
Shame.
ha.
Shameless
Take that.
versus Walking Dead.
I'm sorry, Ash. I gotta go with Michael Rooker.
Yeah, you do.
So would I. Yeah.
Oh, that hurt. Okay, Hollywood. Ash.
Guy Pearce.
I'm sorry,
Okay.
say it again?
Okay.
Guy Pearce.
Okay.
LA
Okay.
Confidential. Iron Man 3 bad guy.
Cool.
Okay.
I'm giving you Matt Damon. Young Matt Damon.
Yeah.
Known for being Matt Damon.
I'll go Matt Damon. That one's
Matty.
Woo!
I'm getting. Oh, this is not good.
All right, Sundown.
Oh, me. I went for Cool Runnings Malik Yoba.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
That's a good one.
I'm giving you Halle Berry.
Ooh.
Would the scene be out of Maverick grabbing a hold of Sundown?
No, we just keep it intense. Yeah, she's
okay.
one of the boys. She's there to rock and roll.
I could see her put her hand up if somebody ran to her. You know what? No, I'm gonna go Malik Yoba.
Dang.
I do like that one. But I like Halle Berry.
Strong.
I do like the gender swap
Butcheroo
there.
did there.
Yeah. Merlin.
Yeah.
Ash.
Okay. I went a very cool Russell Crowe.
Oh.
Okay. All right.
I went the opposite way vertically, and I chose Ki Hui Kwan.
Oh.
Sure.
Everything Everywhere All
Short
at
Round?
Once. Short round. Yeah.
I'm gonna go Russell Crowe. I like that. I like that pick.
I like it too.
Okay, and last but not least, Jester.
Jester, I went with. Oh, sorry. Am I going first?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You're good.
Sorry. Yeah. Just coming off Natural Born Killers, Woody Harrelson.
Cool. I went with Delroy Lindo.
Ooh, I like him.
Ooh. I like Delroy Lindo.
Big Woody. Who's saying that?
Who is saying Big Woody?
I know. I don't know. I just heard that.
The guy with the British accent.
It actually didn't sound British. Okay, I am gonna go Woody Harrelson because I like.
Oh, amazing.
I think that's good.
Cool.
It's fine.
All right.
How'd you feel, Nick?
I feel fine.
I think that
I really don't know how I did because
solid.
my list was all over the place. So, like,
All right.
out of order.
Let me.
Michael Rooker was a very good one. though.
Okay. Yeah, let me go ahead and grade the 30 seconds or less. Best pick was Michael Rooker. Because Michael Rooker is the modern day like bad guy
Yeah.
principal from the Back to the Future movies.
Back to the Future. Yeah, totally.
He's in Back to
So-
the Future?
He's
No,
the
no,
principal
the-
from Back to the Future.
The original
Stinger is.
actor, the original actor that plays Stinger.
Yeah,
is
the original
principal
actor.
from Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Oh, so sorry. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
got
yeah.
it. Right.
No worries, no
I was gonna say.
And like that's Michael Rooker. Like it's just because Michael Rooker essentially played the bad guy principal from Back to the Future
Yeah,
in Mallrats.
yeah.
So
I
it's
see.
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
good. And I'll give worst pick to Woody Harrelson. He's just not old enough to play the
That's where I was at. Yeah.
Jester.
Okay.
Well, Michael Ironside was 36. Woody Harrison was 34.
Yeah, but he looks
the time.
Yeah, but
56.
Michael Ironside looks 54. Always.
That is true. that is true. He's got that Gene Hackman oldness about him.
Yeah.
he's- Man, I love Michael
Benjamin
Ironside. I'm so
Button.
glad we're talking about him on this podcast finally. I'm adding him to my list. I'm going to cast him in something eventually. So, all right, cool.
The role of Iron
So,
Man will be played by.
Oh,
yeah.
my
Oh man, I
God.
really wanted William H. Macy, but Michael Rooker.
I know. Like
I wanted him.
Show me movies we'll never do on this podcast. Benjamin Button. All right, cool. All right. Okay, so that brings us to the top. We're going to cast 6 roles that we consider primary and great to Top Gun and essential, and so we'll take a little time here, and we'll give Nick and Ash a chance to really like sell who they chose here. And so we're going to start at number 6 with Mrs. Goose herself, Carol Bradshaw.
I would love to be able to warn you off about Maverick, but I just love him to death. You know, I've known Pete for a lot of years now, and I'm telling you one thing's for certain. There are hearts breaking wide open all over the world tonight. Why? Because unless you are a fool, a boy is off the market. He is 100% prime time in love with you.
Played by Meg Ryan. Small role, but great role. I don't know why, but Meg Ryan just really chews up her scenes in this, and I just wanted a whole movie about her. And she does a lot with a little, but she is the wife to Goose, which means she showed up in the movie, which means she doomed her husband to death. That's just the rules. They don't know it, unfortunately. It's not like she did it intentionally, but yep, if you're the wife with the kids, you show up to your soldier cops like place of work, they're going to die in a couple of scenes from there. We just saw how happy they are. And so that's what she is. She is the wife. And then halfway through the movie, widowed Mrs. Goose.
Never bring
I-
your wife to work, all right?
I also liked her, like, the line in there where she was like, he loved flying with you, but he would have flown anyway. I was like, oh, rude. like,
who wrote this?
Like, thanks.
Not sure what I think of this.
But yeah, I did like her. I did like Meg Ryan as Carol. She was just very bubbly. You just had a very just like upbeat character who even talks to Charlie later on, basically saying like, I'd tell you bad things about Maverick, but I can't. I just love him so much. It's like, it's just sweet. Like, she's
You
just
got
a
that
sweet person.
family vibe coming from her massively.
Yeah. And this is early Meg Ryan. This is before all the bigger movies that she would come out
Meg
with.
Ryan. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. We're not at Sleepless in Seattle or When Harry Met Sally or any of that yet.
Oh, no.
Her 90s run.
Yep. All right, Cass, hand it over to you. You can decide who goes first.
All right, since I let Ash go first, Nick, who did you cast for Carol?
Of course. Okay, I'm bringing you someone that is a little bit more of a name at this point in her career. No big leads or anything, but she plays a lot of prominent roles in such films as White Men Can't Jump and, Do the Right Thing. But I'm giving you Rosie Perez. She's a free agent this year, but I think she's got all of the great personality that Meg Ryan brought to the role, and she'll make that a very memorable role. And you'll fall in love with her almost immediately, being the supportive mom and wife, the wife of our Goose. But yeah, she's a little fiery, but she's also very like, because the character is fiery, but she's also very defendant of Goose and is very proud of him. And I could see Rosie really nailing those character beats and getting us a lot with very little.
All right, Ash.
Hi. Yes, so I went for a different kind of different actress. I wanted someone who sort of wore the trousers because Goose is kind of like quite soft and really kiddish. So I wanted this woman to be quite authoritative and also have that side of banter that she can have with guys. So what I've done is I picked someone on the same trajectory as Meg Ryan. She isn't known, but she's recognized. And the year after, she becomes absolutely massive. And that's sort of her run in the 90s. The year after, she's obviously doing Twister. So I give you Helen Hunt for the role of Carol.
Okay.
I wanted someone who's kind of cute. She's got that young look. She's actually 32 at the time. And she's someone who could easily sell wearing the trousers in this relationship and sort of tell our Goose, don't do this, don't do that. And also have that level of emotion later on when he dies. But yeah, thought I'd give you Helen Hunt.
Yeah, I feel like Helen Hunt's definitely right in line with like the Meg Ryan casting for sure. Just to defend my casting as well, and I don't think you're coming at it by any means, but I do think Rosie Perez does have an authority figureness to herself through her strong personality. Yeah, and I feel like both candidates are really good at like being strong women in their relationships in movies. Like they
100%.
rarely do they play like the cowering or. Rosie Perez did a pretty good job in The Flight Attendant a couple years ago, but she's playing like a middle-aged woman who was kind of going through a midlife crisis kind of character.
Yeah, I think it's just finding the right actress at the sweet spot. But yeah, they're both definitely got the same qualities for this role for sure, 100%.
Yeah.
Huh. No, I definitely like both of those picks. It's funny to know like the most known thing that I know Rosie Perez from is when she was a cop in Pineapple Express. But even like in that, like you could still see that like side of her where it is like the authority like figure.
Yeah.
And it's also like you had your moments with her with I think like one of the characters, I forgot like who it was, but like there was still that like caring, like that like
motherly kind of
side
to her. Yeah.
So I am gonna go with Rosie Perez just because that is a really
Sorry.
I do like it. I think that's a good pick, and I can see her in that role. And I feel like whoever you bring to Goose from either of you, you both are like, it's still gonna fit her very well. I think she'll be able to get along with that character or that actor really well.
Cool.
Yeah, for
Cool,
sure.
cool,
I
cool.
agree. Yeah.
I as soon as I liked Rosie Perez the second I heard it. It's great. I really
It's
do. I
hard to
like
agree.
Rosie Perez. I'm a big fan of Rosie Perez, honestly. So that's all I can really
It's
say.
hard not to be.
Yeah, and again, it's like a lot of energy, and she's kind of a really energetic actress, and so
Yeah.
I think Rosie Perez's talent is doing a lot with a little. So
For
yeah,
sure.
I mean it. Is this post White Men Can't Jump? Because that was like 93,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
92 was White Men
dang.
Can't Jump. Yeah.
Ooh, dang, so we're getting we're
92,
getting like
wow.
peak Rosie Perez. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. That brings us to CDR. Is that Commander? I don't know my military.
I think it's Commander.
Okay, Commander
Yeah, you're right.
Mike Viper Metcalf.
The simple fact is you feel responsible for Goose, and you have a confidence problem. Now, I'm not going to sit here and blow sunshine up your ass, Lieutenant. A good pilot is compelled to always evaluate what's happened so he can apply what he's learned.
Played by Tom Incredible Underrated Mustache Scarrett. I feel like if Burt Reynolds and Tom Selleck hadn't come before it, this would be the mustache we remember. But unfortunately, his was always kind of gray, so I feel like it just didn't get the respect it deserved. So, you would know Tom Skerritt from the TV show Picket Fences. He was in Poltergeist 3. He was in Stephen King's The Dead Zone, MASH, and then, of course, he's in one of the greatest films of all time, Steel Magnolias. He is the Top Gun instructor, kind of, I guess, surrogate kind of father figure to Tom Cruise, since Tom Cruise didn't really, I guess, know his father because he died being a fighter pilot. So, so Tom Skerritt's kind of like the instructor. I was a little disappointed that Tom Skerritt did not end up in the jet with Tom Cruise as teased
Oh, man.
at the graduation.
Yeah.
He teases it at the graduation, and it's just like, Merlin, get the crap out of this jet, go back to Shawshank, and let Tom Skerritt be a wingman. Like, but it's whatever. So, like, this movie had get your 6'6" butt out of this plane. You don't fit. So, but like, there was an opportunity for like Tom Cruise to get in the plane. He's freaking out. He never even talks to the guy behind him until he's in it, and then like Tom Skerritt speaks, and we're like, whoa! And so, but
on your 6
that opportunity, yeah. Oh my gosh, we would have all that's the moments this movie needed to push me over the edge. But he's great. He's the instructor. He sees something in Tom Cruise, tries to steer him straight, breaks classified information to get him back in the jet. So it's great. I like Tom Skerritt. He's a great actor, in my opinion. So, oh yeah, he's an alien. I didn't even. Okay, yeah, never mind. Nick, you wrote that down.
That's what I thought you were going to say instead of Steel Magnolias, by the way. And I was like, wait, what? I was like, oh man, that's a curveball.
No, in all fairness, I do like Steel Magnolias more than Alien, but Alien is the movie that's most going to be associated with Tom Skerritt. I should probably have said that. So, my bad. All right. So, Cass, over to you.
Alrighty. So, Nick, since you won that, or, got that.
Yeah.
You can take it.
Okay.
Who is your Viper?
So I'm going to give you from one former fighter pilot, I'm going to bring you another fighter pilot from another movie. And he's only really known for this trilogy of movies that came out. And I'm just going to give you the actor Dennis Lawson. You know him as, Star Wars people will know him as Wedge Antilles, a background character that was an X-Wing pilot. But he's a big cult icon in that world. But Dennis Lawson, I think he's great. He's got a great personality. He's really likable with limited screen time. And at this point, I think he would be a really good like father figure, like mentor figure for our Maverick in this movie. So that's who I'm going with.
Okay. I like
Hmm.
it. I like it.
Interesting.
Ash?
Yeah, I think this is the second time I've actually picked this actor on this podcast, but I really like him. So he's predominantly known in a different country, and he's done a lot of films in that country. Pre 1995, he's already made his mark in America. He was in The Hunt for the Red October in a very star-studded cast: Sam Neill, Sean Connery, Liam Neeson. And he was a commander in that movie, and he's got a very authoritative presence, as we all come to know in his career. So I've gone, and in 2 years' time, he will play a mathematician professor in Good Will Hunting, but he has been known to play authoritative roles, especially Gone with Dragon Tattoo. He's in the Avengers as a academic. So I'm going to give you Stellan Skarsgård. He is not doing anything. He was in 2 Swedish films this year. Exactly the same age as Tom Skerritt was when he did Top Gun. But he has that sort of deep, wise voice, and he's got that really nice delivery that I thought has a very fatherly vibe. And he does the same fatherly vibe with Matt Damon in Good Will Hunting, Natalie Portman in Thor, Chris Hemsworth in Thor. So I thought it sort of emulates here with Tom Cruise or whoever our Maverick may be in 1995.
To be fair, like I didn't know of Stellan Skarsgård's existence probably until like the 2000s, like, and that makes sense that he's a Swedish actor, right? Ash, is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That makes sense because you sit there and go like, well, he's older. I should have seen him in some movies. It's like, oh, well, he's in non-American movies. Got it. Okay, and I'm just a dirty filthy American film watcher. Got it. So
he started doing loads of commercial, like Bootstrap Bill in Pirates of the Caribbean, and he sort of went downhill after like in like Good Will Hunting and more, those kind of films, and then he sort of really started doing the blockbuster movies. And, I really love him as an actor.
No, I think that's a solid thought. My pick is purely out of the fun idea of like this Maverick being this cocky guy, being like, "What do you know, old man?" And everybody in the audience going, "That's the dude that helped blow up the Death Star twice, dude."
Royalty.
Nerd. All right. No, I like Dennis Lawson too. I think I think you both picked pretty interesting but solid picks. I do feel like I'm leaning more on Dennis Lawson though. I like Stellan Skarsgård. I do like Stellan Skarsgård, but I feel like Dennis would fit that role a little bit better.
Yeah.
Just because of the authority role and just kind of the being there for him. It just what was the one thing that Viper said where he was just like, he was almost like these things happen, like it's gonna continue to happen. Like I forgot what
he's got TV dad energy, and even Tom Skerritt has a little bit of like a leniency to him with Maverick, and where Stellan, I feel like he would threaten Maverick, and you'd be like, oh god, I'm so sorry, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's interesting to know his sort of like persona in 1995 because I mean he's sort of like kind of like what Cory said. He's sort of Gene Hackman. He's always been that age. He's never really been young, and he's never really been old. He's just stayed at a neutral zone for 30 years. But he's always played one or the other. He can be very authoritative, or he can be quite fatherly. But I'm actually it's a good pick to be honest for Nick. Yeah, I can't really fault it.
All right.
Cory, thoughts?
My thoughts are that you both picked 2 non-American actors to play an American military commander. That's what I think. I feel like Cass was in a real rock and a hard place between, does she want someone fighting a Swedish accent, or does she want someone fighting a English accent the whole movie?
Oh, damn it. This is where I should have put William H. Macy.
Wedge doesn't have an English accent in the Star Wars movies, does he?
Yes,
from what I remember.
I don't remember him having all the extras are like British because it's like filmed in London.
I gotta as much as I don't want to rewatch Star Wars movies right now, I guess I'll go back and see.
Well, I mean, you could probably just Google like that scene.
Yeah,
I don't think you have to rewatch.
There's this thing, Nick. There's this thing called YouTube that you could do, like look up. No. I'll go back to my DVDs, my VHSs.
YouTube, man.
He was born in Glasgow, United Kingdom. So, yes, he is indeed British. I mean, they're actors, so I expect that I'm expecting them to show up on set with a really solid American accent, which I do know Stellan could do, but we went with Dennis. I don't
Yeah.
know. I just feel like Cass was given a hard choice there. I was needing her to do her override, honestly. But all right,
That's what you got to do, Cass. Make
But
those
for
difficult
Viper?
choices.
Yeah.
But for Viper,
yeah, for Viper, it's an integral part of the.
It's the crux of this
movie.
film, Cass. Lives or
He's
dies.
basically the main character.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Oversight there. Wow.
So,
We needed the dad from Family Matters. Solid mustache, TV dad energy. Been in action
Dad
movies
energy.
before. So all right, that brings us to film favorite Nick Goose Bradshaw.
You know, when I first realized that going to Top Gun, all I could think about was getting that trophy. I gotta be straight with you, Mav. Right now, I just hope we graduate. I got a family to think about. I can't afford to blow this.
It's one of those things where I watched this movie for the first time ever, but I've known Goose dies in this movie for like 20 years. It's
Same.
yeah, same.
Yeah. It's like popular
like
knowledge.
you just know Goose dies. Anthony Edwards, very famously part of ER. He's in Revenge of the Nerds. Gotcha, Zodiac. He's kind of in a lot. Considering he's kind of like this kind of a Malcolm's face. He just kind of blends in, kind of a character actor type, but he's actually like the first lead on ER. I think he was like in front of Clooney when ER started until that handsome bastard overtook him. And so
dirty.
So
dare he?
But yeah, no, I like Anthony Edwards quite a bit. He's a great actor. And honestly, this is one of his best roles because it's just so huge. He mostly he played more what he looked like, which is kind of this nerdy type of a dude. And he was usually just kind of playing second to someone else. But like here, he's like just eating up the scenery of every scene. And so like he does super well. And he makes us fall in love with him. So it's really sad when he ejects straight into his cockpit roof.
Literally my favorite scene is when they were telling Charlie about like the picture and stuff, and he was like, yeah, I have a picture of it. Maverick's giving him the bird. He's like, you know, the finger, and like gives her the finger. She's like, I know what the bird is, Goose. He said, sorry, it just does that.
Unfortunately, currently his name has been hijacked by one of the up-and-coming prospects in the NBA. Because now when I say Anthony Edwards, I think of the basketball player, not the actor, which is sad. So,
you're the basketball player? What? I don't think that's right, Corey.
So, no. Anthony Edwards, the actor, was never in the NBA. All right, cool. So, but yeah, he's the friend. He's the comic relief. He's all the energy. He's that friend that has to die so that our hero learns something. So, Cass, what you looking for?
For Goose, what I look for in?
Yeah,
I just look for a loyal, like, best friend who does have that, like, comedic background, because he is, I don't want to say he's unserious, because I feel like unserious is kind of like taking away his personality, but he is just your fun loving, like, upbeat friend. He's just full of life, and I think Carol basically gave him that sort of life too, especially like when they reunited, when she went to go see him, and they're at that like diner singing. But to me, he's just like that loyal best friend that's still there for Maverick. He is a family guy, but his best friend is Maverick, who he has a lot of love for. So
yeah,
cool.
All right, who's up?
Nicky.
Oh, he's heating up. Okay, so yeah, we're looking for somebody that's got some comedic background, lovable guy that could be definitely somebody's Pippin to their Jordan, because we're in the 90s. And I went with a certain Mr. Marlon Wayans. You know him from, at this point, he's a year before Don't Be a Menace to South Central While Drinking Your Juice. But after this, he goes on to be in such things as Scary Movie, Requiem for a Dream, Even tries to do some slightly weird stuff in the Lady Killers, but most people will probably know him from White Chicks. I just think that he's a young comedian at the time, a good-looking dude. Like, he's going to be able to pull off being like a lovable best friend to our main character in Maverick. And I think that in retrospect, you also be really sad when he's gone. So yeah, I'm giving you Marlon Wayans.
Okay. It's like, I can say at least, like, because I feel like when you hear Marlon Wayans, you do think of his really, really comedic background.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
I feel like you don't need that with Marlon Wayans. But Requiem for a Dream, I feel like, is a good example
Of him bouncing out a bit. Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right
So
now,
I see.
I was going to say in 95, he's just doing In Living Color. He doesn't have any movies coming out this year. So, wide open.
Cool. Ash?
Hey. Yeah. I really, really liked your last two picks, Nick. I'm still on the fence about this new one. So yeah, interesting. I can't figure it out at the moment. I've went for someone who I'm taking someone who was really big in the 80s, like sort of John Hughes big in the 80s, and becomes a massive name, very main character vibe in some say comedy, but he's dipped and dived into a lot of genres, but he has been known for sort of this dark satire comedy. But he might be more well known in a different genre, and he's actually a free agent this time. I'm a really big fan of this actor. I think he can pretty much do every role. I think he can definitely turn on the serious scenes at any point. He's definitely done that in a lot of his films before. He has appeared in 16 Candles, but you won't know him from that. You'll probably know him from Cameron Crowe's Say If, and you'll probably know this guy from the year after Con Air. Talking about High Fidelity, I'm talking about 1408, I'm talking about John Cusack. I love his face. He's a very unorthodox main character. I think he's got a very interesting humor to him that I haven't really seen in many actors. He's got a very unique personality. And yeah, I definitely think he can pull off a very different vibe to Goose. I think you'll have that sort of lovable guy who can be a bit goofy at times, which you've seen in the 80s with John Cusack. But
he's got a quirkiness to him. Yeah.
Yeah, there's something about him that I'm like, okay, I'll miss him if he goes, because he definitely fills up the room with his presence, and that's kind of what Goose does in every scene, I think. So, yeah, I went for John Cusack.
Okay. And I think you both really hit the point of how you saw Goose, because again, I think with Goose's character, it is just a lovable character, but with his comedic background. So that's why I had to reiterate the thing with Marlon Wayans, just because he does seem to get like the rep of like that comedic background with Scary Movie, with White Chicks,
being a bit over the top. Yeah.
But if you do watch like Requiem for a Dream that Cory shuddered about earlier,
stop saying it.
From that disturbing movie that you should only ever watch once.
If that.
It's a good film.
Actually, I do want to bring up, I think I had a conversation with Cory before about this, and Cory was like, they need to like play these movies like for kids to make sure that like you don't do drugs.
No, I think in first day of ninth grade they should make you. I think first day of ninth grade they should make you watch Breakfast Club just to get the whole click thing out of your head, and then your first day of senior year they should make you watch Requiem for a Dream, because that's when drugs are going to come at you, probably most likely your junior senior year.
I'm not against it.
So
it's not bad. Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Weed, alcohol, that's fine. Go experiment, but stay away from heroin, please.
Please.
So
drugs, kids.
So back on topic, I am going with John Cusack. I do like John Cusack a lot. I think he is that good. I think it's the face. Like his face is very like lovable too, where you just know that there is going to be that little bit of loving with which I think that'll be interesting, seeing him and Rosie. But
Mm,
but it is going to be that family man thing, and
yeah.
his relationship with Maverick, and he'll still bring a little bit of that comedic background. So.
I need to
I'm
see
going-
him with a mustache before I'm sold. But go ahead.
I'm trying to Google it
That's a
because
good.
I had.
Yeah,
the
he's always
same
clean
thought.
shaven.
He's always
The
either got a-
Raven.
Yeah, but that's like with a goatee. He doesn't ever do just the stash.
Why does the stash
Cory,
have
just-
to be there?
Do we need the stash? Maybe we could
Cash,
incorporate
it's iconic.
sideburns.
Oh no, we need the stash.
It's
But
iconic.
okay,
But I know-
they did bring it into Maverick with Miles Teller, so I guess
But- I do know he can grow one because he can grow a whole beard.
That's
He
true.
Just,
Yeah.
he's,
Yeah.
he's
Okay.
never been.
He has a
All
full-
right.
He's just never been
being John
confident enough.
Malkovich, he has a full beard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I know he
have
can
yet
grow
to
one.
see the mustachio.
Yeah, he just
Mustache,
never had the
mate.
confidence to go full
Yeah.
beard. Hey, in
I
the
will
Raven?
say-
Wait, in the Raven, does he play Edgar Allan Poe?
Yeah, he does.
Yes.
Edgar Allan Poe had just a mustache. See, he has a confidence thing about just the stash. Because he insisted on having the soul patch and the goatee.
I think he can pull it off. I think it works. I'm seeing some
No, I
photos
mean, it's
now.
fine. It's just
mean-
I'm now like just questioning Cusack's
Can you see that?
inability to confidently wear
Yeah.
just the stash.
He's
Yeah.
got it's the goatee, but
We are
he's
seeing
covering
a
it.
photo of John Cusack in the Raven right now.
I'm just
He
mad
is
because
stroking the mustache very ponderously, as I would say.
I'm just saying
Maybe,
he's playing
maybe.
a guy who doesn't have a whole lot of photos of him, but the photos that do exist of Edgar Allan Poe, it's just a stash. There's no evidence that Poe ever rocked the soul patch goatee as well. I'm just saying, there's something about Cusack that said, I'm not doing just the stash. So I'm just, I'm just wondering if I should reject here.
What?
But
Willie,
Based
though.
off of a mustache.
But Marlon Wayans with that mustache.
Marlon Wayans
seems
has a
creepy.
mustache.
no.
I'm thinking.
That's the thing,
Yeah.
though. Marlon Wayans also never does just the stash. It's always a
doesn't?
goatee beard. No, it's just the. Okay, no, it's fine. I like John Cusack. We'll go. I'm just saying it worries me that he has
come on,
an
Cory.
issue with.
It's a good point to make though, because it's a very iconic part of the character. It's not
It's
just a
Goose.
little stash.
Yeah, it's
It's
Goose
Goose, yeah.
in the stash. All right, this is like if we're
Yeah,
casting
yeah.
Magnum PI and we're like, let's not talk about mustaches, like the TV show Reboot did. Didn't care about a mustache. All right, no one watched it.
Now we know.
So, all right, moving on. That upsets Nick's possible shutout here. Ash is on the board.
Really could have used that assist there. It's fine.
That brings us to a character who is just not in this movie enough, Lieutenant Tom Iceman Kazansky.
You guys really are cowboys. What's your problem, Kazansky? You're everyone's problem. That's because every time you go up in the air, you're unsafe. I don't like you because you're dangerous.
That's right. Ice, man. I am dangerous.
All right. Played by
Kazansky.
the brilliant Val Kilmer, who would go on quite the run just after this. He is obviously very famous for The Doors. He's in True Romance. He's in Batman Forever. He's in Tombstone. Val Kilmer is Heat. He's doing
This
Heat
year.
and Batman Forever in 1995. So let's not keep him here, people. So but Iceman, he is the quote unquote, for whatever reason, history calls him the antagonist just because he chomps his teeth at Tom Cruise once. But other than that, he's just another fighter pilot who's a little weary of the true villain, Maverick, in his selfish, reckless ways when they're all behind fighter jets. I think Iceman's completely in the right this whole movie. So, but yeah, that's it. He's really, more than anything, not the antagonist. He's just the, I think he's the antithesis of Maverick.
Yeah.
Because whereas Maverick is also considered one of the best, if not the best, just like Iceman is, Iceman's very grounded. He's very confident. Whereas Maverick has these daddy issues. I don't know what it is, but it creates a cockiness in him. And so Iceman's just the real deal, whereas Maverick, I don't know, maybe he's dealing with some imposter syndrome.
Listen, Cory. Maverick's the guy that you're afraid your daughter's going to bring home one day. He's cocky, he's charismatic, and you're just like, Iceman's right there. He's respectful. He's confident. Like, what are you doing? You're hanging out with the wrong guy. Come on.
Oh, yeah. He's actually the all-American high school quarterback.
Yeah. You know.
Yeah.
Well,
You're right.
Maverick is dangerous.
Yeah,
Maverick's dangerous. He's writing checks his ass can't cash.
Yeah, he's wearing a leather jacket and smoking cigarettes under the bleachers.
Riding a bike, yeah.
Yeah, riding a motorcycle. I
listening to Danger Zone over and over.
I bet Iceman drives an eco-friendly like Volvo that's just practical. It's a
He's
practical
the real hero.
car.
Yeah, for sure.
That's just like I'm doing a lot of damage to the environment just getting in a jet, so I'm gonna make up for, and I'm gonna put my green thumbprint on the car I drive. Meanwhile, Maverick's just going up and down the runways,
gas.
just on his motorcycle, on his crotch rocket. So yeah, all right. That's Iceman. So, yes. The true hero of this film. I say we cast Maverick now and save Iceman up top. So he's just as crucial to the mission at the end. He takes down a guy too. So all right, okay, no, that's fine. We'll do Iceman now. So
Ash.
Yeah.
Since you made it, you take it.
I will take it after that.
Oh my god.
Introduction. This is the one I had the least confidence with. I kind of went on the nose with this one. I wanted someone who had that arrogance without even trying to be arrogant face. So I needed that face to be antagonistic. And I know we've just established that this character isn't antagonistic, but I want him to look, out of no fault of his own, like a dickhead. So I needed this guy to be on point, a competitor with our Maverick, and someone who isn't as known but is easily smitten in the audience with his good looks, which I believe is what Val Kilmer did in the original Top Gun. So I bring you someone who is actually more famous for music at this point of his career than he is for acting, but he is about to become an Oscar winner. Not anytime soon, but at some point he will.
Okay.
He's won the Emmy, he's won the Grammy, he won an Oscar, he's done the trifecta. I bring you 30 Seconds for Mars lead singer Jared Leto. He has done a few films. He is known. He's doing a film called How to Make American Quilt, which I don't believe many people saw.
I don't think
yes,
so.
Cam.
I do see it. I like to see it.
Oh, you have seen it?
No. I mean, like, I'm looking at his face in '95, and it's very like
it hasn't aged.
I see the visual.
No,
he's a vampire. Like, there's no way.
The Tom Cruise effect, obviously, is exactly another reason why I've picked him. But yeah, he's got that. He's got that. I think the problem for this pick, the reason why I wasn't so confident on it, is a bit too on the nose with Val Kilmer, and I wanted to sort of venture out a little bit more of this, but I couldn't really think of anyone. He's only 3 years younger than Val Kilmer was when he took the role, so he's of the same age. He's got that personality, and we know he's got the talent to sort of, maybe branch out in this movie if the director allows him to, because we don't see much of Val in the original Top Gun. So yeah, I bring you Jared Leto.
Okay. Nick?
Well, this one was tough to pick for me, but I had two actors in mind, and the one I ended up with is going to cause maybe a stir of controversy because I'm taking him out of Mallrats. And I'm teaming up with his buddy down in 30 Seconds or Less. I'm bringing you douchey Ben Affleck, but we're going to blend it with leading man Ben Affleck, and we're going to give you the Val Kilmer that Cory deserves in this version of Top Gun. Ben Affleck. This year, he's doing Mallrats and Glory Days. I know people love Mallrats. I think he does fine in Mallrats. I think anybody could play the douchey boyfriend or the guy that's trying to get the main character's girlfriend.
I'm mad that I didn't bring this movie up.
Mallrats is a great film. Yeah.
It's a fun film. It's fun. It's fun.
It's fun. It's fun. It's one of my friend's favorite movies, and she had me watch it, and I was like, oh yeah, no, it's cute. I like it. Cory.
No, I
No,
talk
no,
after.
Cory waits till after. Yeah, these are the rules.
Pressure's
No,
on,
it sounded like he
Cass.
was talking. No, it sounded like he was talking. That's why I was asking.
I actually, just to fill in the blank here, I actually do like Ben Affleck. I didn't even think about Ben. But yeah, I mean, this is obviously pre-1997, so this is before Good Will
Right.
Hunting.
Yeah, for
This is
sure.
before
This would
people
be
knew who he was.
Mhm.
Yeah. But Val
Yeah.
Kilmer wasn't really a name in 1986, was he? So it's
Not
not
to my
out of
knowledge.
the realms of.
Yeah.
No, I don't think he was. I think he was bigger in the 90s, like Ben. So the trajectory is correct here with Ben.
Yeah. It would just be giving him a little bit more of a noticeable role before Good Will Hunting and everything else. Like Mallrats is more of a cult hit that picks up steam later on, but
and
yeah,
definitely, he's got that. And School Ties. I don't know if you guys have seen that with Brendan
I
Fraser.
have. Yeah, it's a good one.
He's in that for a bit, and he basically plays your typical school bully. He's not in it for long,
Yeah.
but Matt Damon's sort of the
Mhm.
main bully in it, and he has that role in it too. But I can see where you've gone with that, Nick.
Okay. I will say I am leaning more towards Ben Affleck. I like the Jared Leto pick. I do think he would fit the role very well, and I'm like kind of trying to like get into the mindset of like American Psycho, Jared Leto. But I feel like Ben Affleck would be better because of like how like I keep describing faces just because like there's something about like certain actors' faces that you can just be pulled in by charm. Because I think Jared Leto's too pretty. As weird as that, I think he's pretty. I don't think he's the Val Kilmer attractive. I think Jared Leto is pretty.
I agree with you,
and especially
on that. Yeah.
early Jared Leto. He didn't hit his like hot stage until like what's the one movie with Kristen Stewart and Jodie Foster?
Panic Room.
Yes, I feel like he didn't hit that hot role until that. Like he then started getting older and getting into the 30 Seconds of Mars like phase of that different look. So I think he's too pretty for it. Ben Affleck just kind of gives off the I seem like an asshole, but I'm not an asshole. I'm just trying to be real with you vibe.
Yeah. I will say one thing in my defense. It's not really in the defense, more of an attack. Ben Affleck didn't get his teeth capped until Armageddon, which was 1998. And that famous scene with the teeth thing is very iconic for me. So he
maybe
hasn't got his
the
actual
money
teeth.
from this movie they'll be like, we'll pay you to get your teeth fixed.
Maybe.
Oh.
Maybe. But I was just saying, Cass, it's going to be without that teeth cap that he does in he hasn't got his actual teeth in this movie. It's the teeth in Chasing Amy.
Man, Ash is playing hard right now in the paint.
Right,
He's bringing up dental work.
I thought, I've mentioned it before you.
I respect it. I respect it. Like that's.
I mean,
incredible.
what I'll say on my side, like what you're describing, Cass, is that Leto has, and this is no disrespect whatsoever. Leto just has a more feminine energy, and Affleck has a more masculine energy. And with Val Kilmer's role as Iceman, there's definitely a lot of, over the top much is, but at least in terms of how it's shot, he plays it to a subtle degree, but there's a lot of just testosterone being passed around in this movie and a lot of one-upmanship going on.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I do think though the character of Iceman is quite feminine though. He's got blonde hair, he caps his teeth, he's playing volleyball topless. I do think there's a femininity to Val Kilmer's character, which he does really well.
I still feel like he doesn't look that bad in Mallrats because I had to find a picture again of him, and he's I don't know. It's still that his teeth don't look that
bad. Wow.
You tried, Dash. You gave it a strong.
I'm pulling all the stops there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I do like Ben Affleck.
You pulled the goalie. I'm just respectable.
I do like Ben Affleck.
Is that?
I do like.
Did Cass officially pick Ben Affleck?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you though?
I did.
I was waiting for Cory.
I would have rejected Jared Leto. So.
I was waiting for it. It's like, is he gonna do it?
I didn't think he would do it. I didn't think he would do it.
What I almost said, I love Mallrats, and I do like that Ben Affleck's in Mallrats, but he plays like the sleazy shoe store owner that like his whole arc is he likes to have anal sex with women. Like it's hardly like a role he needs in his resume.
Right.
Like, he can be Iceman instead. Like if he wants to be.
Exactly. We're upgrading here a little bit. I can hear Tanner screaming somehow from Los Angeles right now, but it's fine. I'm sure it's nothing.
Yeah.
So. I just feel like
he's
taking him
right
out.
Now.
I feel like taking him out is not as crucial as if you were taking out like Jason Lee.
Yeah.
That's what I was afraid of.
Jason Lee would have been a good pick too.
He would have been great. He would have been Goose. You guys dropped the ball on Goose. Jason Lee is Goose.
You would say goodbye to Mallrats for
podcast is ruined.
It's actually not bad. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, let's just speed through these last two.
It's my only pick, so let's move on quickly.
Yeah. Okay. Don't worry, Ash. You got these next two. All right, the two leads. So, cue the synth bass for "Take My Breath Away" right now. Yeah. So, yeah. Oh my gosh.
You know that my crew and my plane come first. Well, I'm going to finish my sentence, Lieutenant. My review of your flight performance was right on.
Is that right?
That is right.
But I held something back. I see some real genius in your flying, Maverick, but I can't say that in there. I was afraid that everyone in that tax trailer would see right through me. And I just don't want anyone to know that I've fallen for you.
Charlotte Charlie Blackwood, because I guess everyone in this movie has to have a nickname. So she's Charlotte Charlie, which is also, I think, bad in the military. Isn't Charlie code for enemy? Like,
yes.
Oh, that's bad. That's a bad nickname for her job.
Particularly was made popular with the Korean War or
Vietnam.
Not Vietnam. Yeah, thank you.
Vietnam.
Vietnam War.
Okay, well, we're not in Nam, so I think she's safe. All right, cool. I'm just saying, if someone yells Charlie across base, a lot of the older guys might like hit the ground. She needs a new nickname. She needs a new nickname. So, all right, Kelly McGillis, famous for Witness, Made in Heaven, The House of Carol Street, The Accused, mostly Top Gun, I would say. It's probably her main claim to fame here. But she is, she's an instructor, right?
Yeah.
In the movie?
Yeah.
She's also a Top Gun instructor. Was she ever a pilot? Did they ever solidify that, or is she...
I don't know if it clarifies that in the film. I don't know.
Okay, I just feel like they say if your name goes on the plaque and you're in the Top Gun school, you can be an instructor one day. So I didn't know if they.
Maybe she must have been. I guess.
Maybe she's just really smart. I don't know. Either way, she's also an instructor. She seems kind of like more the brains, where it's like all this machismo going around, and she's the person that brings in like math. She's like, all right, so you executed this move and that was wrong, blah blah blah. So. But that's what she is. She's the love interest, obviously, to Maverick, though it's not really a great love story. It just, they get together and that's it. There's no conflict at all in the relationship ever. So, which is great. Maybe I should be happy for them. So, but I just feel like...
No, Cory, we need the drama.
Like,
we need the toxic drama, the red flags. We run a doubt if they're going to make it.
He just sings "I Lost That Loving Feeling" in a bar, and she's like his, like that's it, And I mean, like, and a lot of guys sing the song. I don't know why she just gravitated towards Maverick. She could have fell in love with any of those men, I mean, Goose is married, but
Tom Cruise goes to all that length to sing this song, and she suddenly just pays attention to the one guy that's singing harmony like 30 feet away. Like, oh,
Wolfman. She falls in love with Wolfman.
Yeah.
So
oh my god.
All right, but that's her. She's a love interest. And she also she serves really to ground Tom Cruise a lot, I think, as well. She's kind of his rock to fall on. It's kind of weird because she almost rides this like girlfriend surrogate mother line a couple of times in the movie. It just feels like she's like
bit.
really
bit.
checking on him. You know, it's I don't know. It seems motherly at times. So, all right, Cass.
All right, Nick.
Oh, it's my turn? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I had some fun names that I threw at this character, actually, because in the 80s version, Kelly McGinnis wasn't, like, super big or super well-known, as far as I can remember at that point. So I had some fun names in mind, like, I thought about pulling Elizabeth Berkley out of Showgirls just to see how you would react. Or, like, Denise Richards, just because she's, like, a 90s babe. But I played it a little safer, and I'm going to throw at you, hot off of last year's Pulp Fiction, I'm giving you Uma Thurman. I think that she has a command to herself. I think that she can play the instructor that's not taking any crap from a Maverick, but also can show the softer side when she starts to open up to him, and and she chases after him and is basically like, "Look, dude, like I'm going against all logic here, and I'm like really, I'm just saying it. I'm out loud, like I'm into you. All right, are you on board or not?"
Okay.
But is also the one that kind of helps give him the pep talk at the end of like, "Hey, dude, what are you doing? Like, you gotta get back in the plane."
Yeah, I see it. Okay. I like Uma Thurman. Ash?
Yeah, Uma Thurman's an interesting pick. Yeah, I went a bit differently. I went with someone who's actually quite classically beautiful. I'm not saying Uma Thurman is not beautiful; she's sexy.
How
But I've
dare
gone
you?
for more. Yeah, I was going. No,
Yeah,
I mean
yeah.
she's
No,
absolutely beautiful.
I get what
think-
you're saying.
Yeah, well, saying that the woman I've picked, I say is classically beautiful. She's also extremely sexy as well. She's got that authoritative sort of weight behind her in every single movie she does, despite what genre she does. I am pulling her out of a film I love, so I don't really care
Ooh.
if you pick her and it ruins Judge Dredd, which I really loved in 1995.
No.
So I'm bringing you who Francis Ford Coppola said was one of the greatest actresses ever, Diane Lane. You may know her from a film called Unfaithful. She was in Jack as the mother the year after. She was Superman's dad, Henry Cavill's dad in the new Superman movies.
Mom. She was the
married
mom.
She was the mum. Yeah, sorry, not
Yeah.
not Amy
You're
Adams.
Good.
I'm trying to think of what else she was famous for. Diane Lane.
She was in Streets of Fire in the 80s.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah. Streets of Fire, my word. But yeah, she was in House of Cards for a little bit of a stint. She was married to Josh Brolin for a long time.
Were she in Goonies as well?
Josh Brolin was in Goonies, but she wasn't.
I don't know if she was or not.
But yeah, I've always found her very one of my crushes growing up.
My brain, I thought you said Diane, and I thought Diane Keaton. I was like, she said Father of the Bride Part 2 right now, about to be a grandma.
How dare you touch her?
She's making First Wives Club.
In the Outsiders.
Yes.
She was Cherry in The Outsiders.
There you go. There
yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
Her. So that's who I've brought to the table, Cass.
Okay. Ooh. Okay. Let me think. I think I'm leaning. Yeah, I'm going Diane Lane.
Okay.
I do like that more.
I get it. I've seen Streets of Fire. I know what I'm up against.
I do like Diane Lane. I understand the Uma Thurman thing too, but because I feel like with her being like just coming off of Pulp Fiction, I feel like if they saw that she was in the movie, they saw the Top Gun poster, if it was still the same with both Tom Cruise and Kelly, what is it?
Bishop
McGinnis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So if it was that same vibe, like I think people would be like, "Oh wait, I want to see this because Uma Thurman's in it."
Well, yeah, that's what you sell it for.
Right, but I still think Diane Lane could do the same thing. And I do.
But is she off of a hot pulp indie fiction movie that just came out and almost stormed the Oscars? I don't think so.
Listen,
don't do that. Don't do that.
Listen,
I'm trying to make money, Ash. I'm trying to get butts in seats.
But
Diane Lane's pretty. But listen.
That's exactly why I went for her.
Knowing that she is in The Outsiders, I can still Like, it's not that same vibe, but it's still close enough to how she played Cherry. So I could see her playing Charlie.
Okay.
Doing, like, a little bit more authoritative teacher, but still having that soft spot for Maverick. So I like Diane Lane. I'm going with that.
Okay. Cool. Amazing. Oh, God.
Cass, I'm glad you said all that. Because rejection! It's Uma Thurman! Yes!
Yes! Yes!
No! Uma Thurman is the right call.
Woo!
I wanted you to. I was gonna let you get it all out of why you think she's perfect, why she's great.
I cannot believe you put me through all that.
Really, it's Ash you're pulling the heart out of. Cass is just making the pick. Ash put the time and dedication into picking.
Ash is collateral damage.
Yeah, but he can apologize. I just went on a full tangent, so I will accept Cory's apology.
Yes.
No, you will accept this rejection that Uma Thurman's going to put a little.
Give her the Matumbo, Cory. Give her the Matumbo.
Cass was justifying it for 4 minutes, and I was listening. I was like, yeah. And then Cory jumps in with 3 words, shatters everything we've been working on, Cass.
Listen,
our vision.
What it really boils down to is I'd really just rather not mess with Judge Dredd. I just would like to keep that movie.
I was afraid. I was afraid of that.
So
I understand that.
I'm not saying Diane Lane's the most crucial part of the movie, but I just like the movie as is. Let's not risk anything with the classic Judge Dredd. So, all right. So that brings us to our top. Lieutenant Pete Maverick Mitchell.
We happened to see a MiG-28 do a 4G negative dive.
Where did you see this?
That's classified.
It's what?
It's classified? I could tell you, but then I'd have to kill you.
Lieutenant, I have top secret clearance. The Pentagon sees to it that I know more than you.
Well, thank you, started up on his 6 when he pulled through the clouds, and then I moved in above him.
Well, if you were directly above him, how could you see him?
Because I was inverted.
I was watching this movie and someone said Pete Mitchell's not guilty, and I said, who the hell is Pete Mitchell? And we're like 3/4 of the way through this movie, and I didn't know Tom Cruise's character was Pete Mitchell.
I didn't either. Yeah, same.
Like, who are they talking about? I'm glad he's not being court-martialed, but why are we talking? And then I'm like, oh, that's Maverick's not this guy's real name, is it? Okay, yeah,
it's his government name. Yeah.
So, all right. So, played by Tom Cruise. We just have in parentheses a bunch of movies. Because it's Tom Cruise. I mean, he's known for obviously Top Gun and Top Gun Maverick. I weirdly think that his career has been overshadowed by the Mission Impossible movies. I think if you take the Mission Impossible movies out of his filmography, he's like got a really great, like very like wide ranging like film like thing.
He does.
Like, It's just weird. We don't talk about Edge of Tomorrow or Oblivion or American Made. Like we talk about Mission Impossible, in a weird way.
Yeah.
And so,
I think a lot of that has to do with just how popular, especially the last one was, and how it's pushed him into this mentality of like, I need to just make action movies. And he's become like the biggest, most expensive stuntman basically at this point.
He has.
He's the biggest insurance policy. Yeah.
It's more like straight up. We watch these movies to see like what's he going to strap him to in this movie, like himself.
Right.
Exactly. It's more like a gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I honestly think American Made's the best movies made in the last 10 years. But like that's
really,
just, yeah. So
I'm torn between that and American Edge of Tomorrow. They're both like up there for me, those two films.
Yeah, they're both really good, solid movies.
People like he made Rock of Ages where he sings and he sings well and he like gives himself to a role in this musical that the lead destroys. It's unwatchable because of the lead, but I like you can watch that movie and you can really appreciate Tom Cruise as an actor. I feel like Tom Cruise is weirdly like a meme, and people don't like actually respect the fact that he's like this very, very well-rounded and talented man.
100%
So it's
agree
just,
with
But I
you.
think
he's-
that's also
he's
what
just-
makes it hard to recast him in this role, because
Yeah.
he nails the renegade, hot-headed kind of going in guns blazing type of character. And like we said earlier, it's like you kind of don't want to like him, but because it's Tom Cruise and he has that it factor about him, that charisma, like it suddenly makes it like, no, actually, I'm rooting for him now. I want him to figure this out. And that's the magic of Tom Cruise, I think, in a nutshell.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
I think Ash brought that up earlier, and it's going to make me go back and add an extra star on my letterbox, because it really is like Tom Cruise does what he's supposed to do. I'm supposed to not like him, and then by the end of the movie, I'm supposed to be rooting for him, and I was. At the end, I'm like, "Come on, Maverick, get it together. Iceman needs you." So he does it well, And then you have to bring up Tropic Thunder if you're going to talk about Tom Cruise. What a
I was just going to mention.
I was going to
that,
say, yeah.
brilliant move by an
Complete
actor.
devotion.
That's just so, oh my gosh, that right there, just that pushes. I love Tom Cruise. I just wish he wasn't such a meme of himself. But okay, he's Maverick. He's the lead of the movie. He's the cocky pilot that he's too dangerous. He's too rebellious for the system, and weirdly, like he kind of falls from grace because of it. I'll give the movie that. Like they use that to like, make him fall from grace. Ends up in a situation which his partner gets killed. Not his fault, but like now he's questioning himself. He's questioning his tactics, and he's having a crisis of confidence. He comes back full force, and him and Val Kilmer save the day from a nameless threat. So it's great. It's great. All right, let's finish this out. Cass.
Alrighty. Well, since Nick got that one.
Since Cory came in with the defensive play.
Heresy is what it is.
All right. This was actually, it was the toughest casting choice of the entire movie, because of that balance of being the likable lead, but also being like the cocky, hot-headed dude. And I went through and I was looking through 90s actors of this age and in the range, and just they'd have one side of it, but they may not have the other side of it. But who I ended up with, he is in a movie this year, but he's never the one that's talked about for this movie. It's very much a Leo DiCaprio movie. He's on the poster and everything. But I'm going to put forth Mark Wahlberg. This is right before he jumps full on and I think people start actually taking him seriously as an actor, because this is a few years before Boogie Nights. I believe Fear is the movie he does with Reese Witherspoon a few years after this, but
a year after.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So we're not messing with.
We're not
Fear,
touching.
right?
Yeah, we're not touching
No,
Fear. No, this
Fear's
is
fine.
the one that we would pull him. The one we would pull him from is Basketball Diaries, which I have not seen. Will be openly honest about that right now. So I don't know how much I'm messing with here. I understand I kind of want to watch it, but I think that Mark Wahlberg, with his former past as a rapper, believe it or not, and having that cockiness, the charisma he himself has, and then we know the range that he's capable of in movies like Boogie Nights and stuff. I think that he can play this kind of lead role, and so that's who I'm going to give you, Cass.
Okay. It's weird because like even bringing up like the cockiness and stuff, like I weirdly would have loved him as Iceman, just not because you would have expected it from him, but then you're like, oh wait, no, he is like that. Like
I do think at this point, like putting him as Iceman, you'd be asking him too much to tap into Marky Mark, and it's like I need you to we need to balance that out a little bit.
Okay. Ash.
Okay, the gloves are off here. I'm going to play dirty because I have nothing to lose now. I've gone for someone I don't actually like as an actor, but I think he is really good as this character. Because he's done this character before. And defending this actor, he's actually got a bad rep. He's actually you'll know the actor's name very easily, and you'll know the films he's done. And I think he's sort of the boring Tom Cruise, I would call him. He's the boring Tom Cruise. He's in a lot of movies. He's in a lot of commercial movies, and he does a lot of indie movies. And he's a fantastic actor. And you will see him dip in and out of amazingly B movies. And he's that actor where you have a full blown list of people you don't know, and then you'll have that and this person's in it too. He's that guy.
Okay.
Now, he's an actor, I think, who is the same age as Tom Cruise was. It's funny you should say Uma Thurman, because I am going to go for her husband, Mr. Ethan Hawke, who at 25, I think, has exactly the same charisma as as Maverick has. He's got that bite to him. I didn't want it to be as obvious as I didn't want him to be too good looking. I wanted him to be good looking enough, but a bit gritty, kind of like he is in Training Day. I just think he has the skill. He definitely has the acting chops to deliver Ego, but I also think he has that sort of layered ability to keep reminiscing about his lost father and the relationship with Goose and that oversimplification of being the best there is. And I think him and John Cusack would be absolutely amazing together as well. But yeah, he's doing 2 films this year, Search and Destroy and Before Sunrise. I haven't seen either of them. Obviously, he was in Dead Poet Society a few years before. He was in Quiz Show the year before that, which was nominated for an Oscar, but he wasn't the main character. Just married Uma Thurman as well. I think his real big break was Training Day, and then he sort of escalated into what he has become. But I've always never really been a fan of his recently because of the films he's done.
Ethan
but
Hawke,
he's very
it's like
underrated.
the way you described him as like the great value Tom Cruise, like almost is a really good, like, which is interesting because like while Tom Cruise went, I'm a movie star full on. Like Ethan Hawke likes to like play this game of like, no, I'm a serious actor. I want to take these
I'm an
challenge,
actor.
like interesting artsy roles on. And so I think putting him in this type of role is basically saying like, no, we want you to play this. We know what you're capable of, so come do this. Come play this role. So his name did come up as well when I thought about it, and I only gave pause because of the Before Sunrise movies. There's a whole trilogy of them. I've never seen them. I don't know anybody that has seen them, but if you're a cinephile, if you're a big movie person, you might like go like, how dare you? But in this world that yeah, but it's like, okay, but what's its true contribution to the film world, you know? But so I can see that. I could definitely see that. I just wonder
feel like
go ahead.
I feel like Cory needs to step in, seeing all the moves have been made on his part before Cass says anything.
Well, no, because he has to wait because we can't let him influence Cass's decision.
I don't have the rejection.
That's true.
Anymore,
that's
though.
true.
But he doesn't have. He won't, because I already have an idea in mind.
Okay,
but I am curious to what Cory has to say.
I'm just weirdly like in this. I don't know. I don't know that. I'm trying to think if I've ever done this. What Ash has done, where I've casted someone I don't like, because I don't like Ethan Hawke either.
I've done it. I did it with
I
Emma
could
Roberts.
see it. I just
Yeah, that's sort of it's sort of a meh. I know exactly what you're thinking about. It's like meh.
Yeah. Okay. That's all I'm gonna say until Cass. I don't want to influence.
I've always, and here I'll be different. I actually have always liked Ethan Hawke, but I also see where all of you are coming from. So it does kind of open my eyes a bit to why you guys feel that way. I think the first time that I had ever seen Ethan Hawke in anything was Sinister, and that became one of like my favorite horror movies like around that time, because it actually scared the shit out of me. Like, it was really creepy. And I think it was also because of it came out around the time that the whole Slenderman game came out. So it was like, it almost felt like that vibe, but it wasn't. But regardless, like, I liked him in that. I liked, actually, I think all the acting in that, because it could have been better, but like, it's just a fun, scary movie. But I really do like that pick. And I did see Before Sunrise. I haven't watched it, but I did see it pop up where on TikTok it pops up, because I think it is like a weird cult movie where a lot of people do like it, but I don't know anybody who has seen it either. So am I a bad guy for taking him out of it, or
all of the Before Sunrise fans are about to come for us, all 12 of them.
All of them.
Now, to clarify, I don't hate Ethan Hawke. I'm more neutral with when it comes to Ethan Hawke.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I don't know if hate's the right word. I've just never been impressed. Like, First Reform's really good, but he's just never blown me away with a role.
Yeah,
Like,
I've
even
enjoyed
the roles
him and stuff. Yeah,
he's solid.
Yeah,
I just don't know how to describe him. I'm really like, I don't know the best way to describe an actor like him. He does the job, but he's just floating around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like he did pretty decent in Black Phone. Like, that was something,
Yeah,
like...
he was really good in
playing
that, yeah.
crazy. Like, he was playing just kind of... just pulling you in and being creepy. So I felt like he did that very, very well. But I also see what you're saying. Like, it's like he's not even a bland actor.
My
Like,
biggest concern is
he knows how to act.
Yeah, he knows how to act.
Yeah.
My biggest concern is if he's big enough, like
I
personality wise.
think he is. He's a name for sure, but
Like
he's never really.
I'm sorry, not in name, but in personality, because he's always playing
Yeah.
smaller and subtle, and so I've just never really seen him like go for like a big charismatic. Like, does he have the Riz, Ash? That's what I'm asking.
That's the thing. Like, I've never. He avoids blockbusters. He's like explicitly said that in interviews, and I like, because obviously he spent all his time doing Boyhood with Linklater for God knows what reason.
Yeah.
So, and then in between that, he was doing Gattaca and some. I like him. He's the guy I picked, and I can see him play Maverick.
Which is funny because that movie came out a year after, like 1995. So that's when him and Uma met. And 2 years later married. So it's like, but do you have Uma Thurman and Ethan Hawke be a lead again?
Yeah.
So if they led that next year, you're gonna have them in.
You just rushing the process a bit more, so you'll have.
But I'm not speaking out like of their relationship. I'm speaking of 1995 Top Gun, Uma Thurman and Ethan Hawke. 1996 Gattaca. Is that
Gattaca is 97 to be exact.
Oh, it is.
It
okay.
is. But at the same time,
maybe we change it. Maybe Tom Cruise
I've seen
plays
Johnny
the role
Depp
in
and
Gattaca.
Helena Bonham Carter star in 8 films together. So I mean,
yeah.
True. All right.
So who are you going with?
I am going with Ethan Hawke.
No!
That was already.
Suck it.
You.
Thanks, Cass.
No override. She has stuck to the casting choices.
I did.
I'm happy about
that.
No,
but I agree with what you guys said. I feel like it's really hard to find that balance for Maverick, like an actor for that role. I think Tom Cruise is.
I can talk now. Ethan was wrong. You know why Ethan's wrong? Because Ethan is a stage actor. He's a thespian. He belongs on Broadway. He wants you to come and look at his acting and go, oh, that was a brilliant performance. Movie stars like Tom Cruise, they take their craft seriously, but they want you to have a good time. That's why I don't like Ethan Hawke. I feel like when I'm watching him, he wants me to appreciate what he's doing. When I watch Tom Cruise or Mark Wahlberg, I feel like they just want me to have a good time. That's what it is.
Cass, he's absolutely right, but don't listen to him. Like, you've done a great job.
No, it's over. I officially talked. I can't influence the decision, but like, ugh. Okay.
But no, it's an impossible pick for Maverick. Like, no matter, it's hard. Like, even Mark Wahlberg's good. I like Mark Wahlberg, but is he too Iceman?
This is what I would have done if we had if somebody else was in it. If we didn't cast Maverick last, I would have totally switched Mark Wahlberg and Ben Affleck. But since Maverick was last, I couldn't have used that.
I did set you up to switch Wahlberg and Matt Damon if you had chosen to do so. But anyway, it's all in stone. We can move on now.
All right.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
It's good. It's real good.
Cass, if you will, please read us the entire cast list for Top Gun 1995.
All right. Give me a sec. It's my laptop died. My work laptop. I guess I could.
I was like, you're still here.
No.
But you're there.
Did we add the... Okay. All right. because I really don't feel like going through everyone's like full names. So the commander, Tom.
No,
Yeah,
you can
don't
give
worry about that,
nicknames.
yeah.
You can give nicknames.
Got it. All right. So I forgot how to like do it. For stick, how do we do it?
Bottom
Yeah,
to
you
top.
just say-
Right?
Yeah,
no,
bottom to top.
I know. I'm trying to say. Give me a sec.
Get that water down you. That H2O.
Okay. Yep, I got it. All right. So we have Stinger will be played by Michael Rooker. Hollywood will be played by Matt Damon. Sundown will be played by Malik Yoba. Merlin will be played by Russell Crowe. Jester will be played by Woody Harrelson. And to get to the main cast, Carol will be played by Rosie Perez. Viper will be played by Dennis Lawson. Goose will be played by John Cusack. Iceman will be played by Ben Affleck. Charlie will be played by Uma Thurman. And Maverick will be played by the Ethan Hawke.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Top
Who's
Gun,
who's
1995.
Iceman's wingman?
John
Hollywood.
Cusack.
So Matt Damon and Ben Affleck are in the same jet?
Now you're seeing them. Now you're seeing
Nailed
the picture,
it.
Corey. Nailed
it. Yeah. Oh, that's incredible.
Jesus.
Oh, that's
But
incredible.
do we
I
get
just
Good Will
now did
Hunting
that.
in 2 years' time because of how
Also-
successful this movie becomes?
Good Will Hunting's
They've just
previews will
ruined
just
Good Will
now.
Hunting.
Yeah, Good Will Hunting's previews will be like from Top Gun. All right.
Good Will Hunting.
All right. Also, just realized that Sundown was played. I said his name earlier, didn't I? Clarence Gilliard. That's Theo from Die Hard. That's the guy that breaks into the safe.
Oh, that's right.
Awesome. Okay, nice.
Oh.
All right, cool. Well, that was Top Gun 1995. I think this cast is not that bad. I feel like we did well here. I feel like we've come off some pretty rough casts lately, but I feel like we nailed it here. I feel like this movie's really watchable. I really do. Even with Ethan Hawke, I feel like we got this. I feel like I can get this. I can get this. So, I'm proud of you guys. Which means that is Top Gun 1995. Am I the director next movie?
It's your turn.
You are.
Your pick.
Oh, guys. All right.
Oh,
so
God.
bringing it in for
Brace yourself.
the summer blockbusters. We're going to eventually have to go here. And it's time. We will be doing Marvel's Avengers. The first one.
Oh,
We'll be
okay.
taking
All
it
right.
to 1988. So all
Oh
we
my
have to
God.
do is
Oh
just
my-
cast the primary Avengers, not the 87 friends that come in later. We're just doing number one here.
I'll just put my dry erase board away for now. Sorry. Anyway.
Yeah. I knew that saying Avengers was going to be a little maybe triggering. Like how big is this cast? We're just doing number one.
Mm.
So just got to get that core
Oh,
group
God.
in.
Oh my.
And so,
Okay.
but
All right.
there will be some fun castings that will be added in as well. So join us next episode for when we take Marvel's Avengers all the way back to 1988 for a great 80s cast. How are they going to do Iron Man? How are they going to do Hulk? That'll be some fun conversations that come up. So, but we hope you enjoyed this episode. Please check us out on social media. But until next time, say goodbye, Nick.
Goodbye, Nick.